And he starts through the middle. Referee John Busby is just checking we're all ready to go. He's happy, blows his whistle. Aston Villa kick off. They're playing from left to right in this first half, and the 18-year-old Serbian right back Kostan Nedeljkovic gets an early touch of the ball and plays infield to 20-year-old Lamar Bogard, who's been playing at right back a little bit for Aston Villa so far this season. Ball comes to the right to Nedeljkovic. Another goal at Stamford Bridge. This one kicked off at 7:45 in the League Cup. John Southall.
And it's a second for Chelsea and a second for Christopher Nkunku. Chelsea 2, Barrow 0. Cross from the right hand side. There was Nkunku with a little flick of the outside of his boot to the near post. Chelsea 2, Barrow 0.
John Duran shoots wide at Adams Park in the very first minute of the game. Simple through ball, Joe, through the middle of the Wycombe defence. I felt sure that was going to end up in the back of the net.
Yeah, it's great play by Leon Bailey. Just gets on the half turn. They've pressed up high Wycombe, but Leon Bailey just comes off Alex Hartridge into that little space in between the centre back and the left back. Manages to turn, had a great through ball to John Duran, who didn't have to take a touch, just wanted to shoot first time.
Oh, long ball downfield into the Aston Villa penalty area. Initially dropped by Joe Gauci, the goalkeeper, and picked up on the bounce. Lively start. I mean, given Duran's finishing this season, for him, he's missed an easy chance there.
Yeah, you would have fancied him there, edge of the 18-yard box, goalkeeper on rushing, but I think he just does enough to put him off. He tries to whip his left foot round, he doesn't quite get the bend on it, and it goes right into the advertising hoardings, but it's a sighter. I'm sure the next one will be hitting the back of the net.
Chelsea leading Barrow then by 2-0. 7:45 kickoffs tonight. Manchester City 1 up on Watford. Walsall Leicester remains goalless. Amadou Onana is the only Villa player who remains from the starting lineup in the 3-1 win against Wolves on Saturday. He's on the ball right now inside the Villa half. Australian Joe Gauci then the goalkeeper, making his debut for the club. Kostan Nedeljkovic is the right back. Villa Bill play down the right here. Leon Bailey's involved. He's the captain tonight. He's tackled and the ball has gone out for a Villa throw. Ian Matson, the Dutchman, at left back. Lamar Bogard alongside 20-year-old Sil Swinkles, Dutch defender, making only his second appearance for the club. Amadou Onana alongside the very experienced Ross Barkley in central midfield. Leon Bailey on the right. 18-year-old Caden Young making a Villa debut, the winger on the left. And Emi Buendia is playing in behind John Duran. A first start for Emi Buendia since May 2023. Another chance potentially for Duran on the angle into the penalty area, gets his shot away, blocked at the near post, and the final touch comes off the Wycombe defender, goes behind for a corner. Chance in the game between Walsall and Leicester. Lee Blakeman.
It's 0-0, but Walsall should be ahead. Low with the cross, Lakin with a shot unmarked inside the area. Good save away to his right by Ward, Curtis Davis.
Lakin, as he approached it, he would have been licking his lips as he stepped towards the ball. He went for power of a placement, hits it straight at Ward, and unfortunately for Walsall, it stays 0-0.
Big chance for Walsall, but it's still Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
Corner taken by Aston Villa. Villa against Wycombe is 0-0. Kicked off at 8. Played deep to the far post. Ball loose inside that Wycombe box. Loads of bodies in there. Villa player down as well. Claimed he was caught. Villa potentially looking for a penalty. And suddenly Wycombe away on the counter-attack. Lubala catches the ball on his own inside the Villa half. 25 yards out. Hits the low shot straight at Gauci, who makes the save. He had a man in support on the left-hand side. It was Kieran Sadlier.
He did. Sadlier got up well from the left-hand side and he was supporting his striker, but Lubala realised he might not get many opportunities. He thought he'd have a shot, and it wasn't bad. Tested the goalkeeper, low, hard, on target. Good start by Wycombe.
Amadou Onana was the player down. He's finally up on his feet away to our right-hand side. Joe, you were telling me about Wycombe love to attack. I mean, that was a counter-attack rather than sort of developing play through the pitch, but there was danger.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of summed up Wycombe's start to the season. I think they're third most joint goal involvements in the league this season, and they've scored an average 2 goals per game, but conceded far too many as well for Matt Bloomfield's liking. But conceding an early chance, they wanted to try and get on top of Villa early on and not let them settle, but Villa have settled really well actually, and had that chance with Duran early on, but it's a lively start and really exciting so far.
Wycombe 0, Villa 0. Unai Emery's gone slightly more casual than we're used to seeing him this evening. He's in the big black coat beneath us here in our position in the north stand. Sort of comfortable baggy trouser with a black trainer this evening. That's how I'm describing that.
That's a style, isn't it, Ali?
Yeah, I think so. He can carry it off. Jet black hair, slick backpack as always. Here's Onana for Aston Villa. Plays back to Bogard. Bogard across to Nedeljkovic. Onana's pass forward is blocked. Lubala is interested goes chasing this ball inside the Villa half. Gauci whacks it away low upfield. Duran is there, and that is Skura right behind him doing the defending. Villa have wriggled their way out of a tight spot. Leon Bailey brings the ball infield from the right hand side. Here's Emi Buendia, short stocky Argentine with the number 10 on his back. Duran fires a low ball looking for Barkley, interception in midfield, and Wycombe get it clear to the halfway line. Glenn,
do you know what, these opening minutes of the game, it's absolutely frantic. It's being played at a really fast pace, and I'm impressed with how Wycombe are pressing. They're really brave, they're in Aston Villa's faces, they're sharp. Looks like we're set up for a big game, Ali.
Swinkles, longer ball over the top, is headed away by Hartridge for Wycombe. Backinson onto it in midfield, plays up the left-hand side. Here's Scowen on the ball, the Wycombe captain. Holds it up well, plays back to Skura in defence, who just calmly strokes it across here to Joe Lowe. He's won a couple of caps for his country now, Joe. Plays his international football for Wales. Both of those came against Gibraltar. Here's Skura across to Hartridge. Hartridge's first-time ball comes back to the goalkeeper, Ravit Soli, and he's got the Beach Dean terrace behind him in this first half, which is a low terrace, all standing. Wycombe fans packed in there. Wycombe on the ball inside their own half, going for the long diagonal. Sadly is interested with this, and he will get there. Nedeljkovic trying to catch him up, gets to the ball down by the byline. Trick from Sadlier, back onto the right foot, hits the shot, and Gauci makes the save at the near post. Goal in the game in League One between Leyton Orient and Peterborough. Aaron Paul.
1, Peterborough 0. A fantastic goal from the fullback Tom James on the right hand side, cutting in, heading towards the D and letting rip with a curler on his left foot. Nothing Jed Steer could do about it. It just nestled into the back of the net. Cracking strike. Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough 0.
What news at the Etihad Stadium? John Bennett.
Manchester City 1, Watford 0, but Watford thought they'd equalise. Kwadwo Bar had the ball in the back of the net, but it was adjudged to be a foul. A brilliant run from him, but in the build-up he fouled Braithwaite, the 16-year-old playing for Man City tonight. Man City 1, Watford 0.
Chelsea still 2-0 up on Barrow in the League Cup third round ties this evening. Tomorrow night we've got commentary from Anfield of Liverpool West Ham, which kicks off at 8 o'clock. Arsenal in action against Bolton. These teams playing for a place in the last 16 of the competition. Glenn Murray and former Wycombe captain Joe Jacobson alongside me here at Adams Park, with Villa stroking the ball around inside their own half. Barkley plays back to Swinkles, made a very confident start as the left-sided centre-back. It goes wide to the 18-year-old Caden Young. Barkley receives it again. Bogard plays his pass out to Leon Bailey. Bailey comes drifting in from the right-hand side again, thinks about the crossfield pass and just lays it off to Nedeljkovic. Nedeljkovic plays to Buendia. Buendia's drifted to the right for Villa in this attack. Back to Bogard, into the feet of Buendia again, just on the halfway line here, Aston Villa. Anana just calmly plays it to his left to Barkley, stops for a second inside the centre circle, draws his man in, twists again, and then plays a low pass to his left, and Maatsen comes back to Swinkles. Patient stuff, Glenn, from Villa.
Yeah, when Ross Barkley was on the ball, he was wanting to play a forward pass, but there was nothing on in front of him. Wycombe are really compact. They're sitting in their shape. They're waiting for the right moment to bounce. They're all on the same page. And you know what? I think it's easy for a lower team to be pragmatic on evenings like this evening, but
giving it away of Aston Villa. Here's Lubala, Wycombe centre forward, runner on the right hand side. He's seen him, really well covered by Maatsen, and it's David Wheeler who goes down. Maatsen running alongside him, no danger of a penalty there, but again Villa sloppy. Yeah,
well, Villa sloppy. I think you've got to give credit to Wycombe and their pressing and their confidence, but I just like how Matt Bloomfield set them up. He set them up to win this game. It's not to be pragmatic, stay in the game. They're playing their way at their home ground, and they're going to ask questions of Aston Villa.
So goal kick for Aston Villa, 9 minutes gone in the first half. Wycombe 0, Villa 0, and Berily Lubala has already had a couple of opportunities to run at this Villa defence with the ball at his feet, and that time just tried to play his teammate in and it didn't quite come off. Villa bring the ball up to the halfway line. Swinkles is controlled by Young, who's fouled. Villa take their free kick quickly. Barkley sprays his pass to the right. Leon Bailey has to come scampering back down the right wing to collect that. Chests it down, plays to Anana. Tall figure, imposing figure in the Villa midfield, and has already settled in very nicely at his new club this season. Nedeljkovic looking for the run of Bailey over the top. Wycombe have got it covered, and it comes all the way through to the goalkeeper Ravitsoli. So Joe Jacobson, 10 minutes in, what have you made of Wycombe's start to this game?
I think they'll be really pleased. They have sat in at times when Villa have kept the ball along their back line, but they haven't dropped so deep. They've kept the high line themselves as well, so the space in between the lines for Aston Villa isn't great. The one time it happened after a minute, John Duran missed a great opportunity, but on the counter-attack as well, they really spring into action. Bez Labala up front has gotten the ball quite early on. There's a couple of times where he could have thread Wheeler and Sadley and Josh Scowen, who supported him really well, but just failed to do that. But I think for Wycombe's point of view, they'd be really happy with the start they've made.
Little back heel flick from Wheeler. Lubala is chasing again inside the Villa half, and Swinkles this time deals with the danger for Villa, clears, and it goes out for a throw-in to Wycombe on the right. So still Wycombe 0, Villa 0. Manchester City leading Watford by 1-0. Chelsea 2 up on Barrow. Walsall and Leicester remains goalless, and Leyton Orient 1 up on Peterborough in League One. Joe Lowe, long ball down the right-hand side, bounces dangerously inside the Villa box. Lubala on the turn, gets the shot, and Gauci makes the save for Villa at the near post. Villa defenders there, Glenn, sort of waiting for each other to deal with it.
Yeah, I think Maatsen tried to deal with it. Swinkles was all over the place, completely lost his man, found himself empty in the box. He manages to swivel on it. It's a really awkward ball. It's around hip high. He does well to get it redirected on target, but I'm really impressed by Wycombe's start so far, asking questions of the Aston Villa goalkeeper Gauci.
Very handy replays on a giant screen away to our left-hand side, tucked in the corner of this ground at Adams Park.
I think if Wycombe are going to get anything tonight, it's down that right-hand side. I think Swinkles is probably his only second start for the football club. He's probably the weakest link in that back line.
Ball over the top. Oh, Duran couldn't quite control it, still chases it. The offside flag was up anyway. So the Wycombe fans take great delight in that, and they have started pretty well here, offering a threat, the League One team, against Aston Villa. Wycombe 0, Villa 0. What's the latest in the third one-day international at Chester Street? I'm thinking particularly on the weather front, Ellie Oldroyd.
Yes, we just heard, Ali, that the match has been abandoned. It's still raining very heavily here at Chester Street, but England have won it because they were so far ahead on Duckworth Lewis Stern, 254 for 4 when they came off. So they won it by 6 wickets. Harry Brook ending a magnificent 110 not out. Well done to him, and that partnership of 156 between him and Will Jacks, setting the foundation and ensuring Australia's 14-game ODI unbeaten run has come to an end.
Thank you, Ellie. Keeps the series alive. The next one, the fourth one-day international at Lords on Friday, 12:30 start. Commentary as always with the Test Match special team on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Analysis and reaction to England's win in Durham today will follow on the Test Match special podcast. We're here at Adams Park tonight. This is League Cup third round football. All the ties have to be decided on the night. No extra time, straight to penalties if that is required. Bogard brings it up to the halfway line for Villa. They're trying to knock it around, gets away from them. Wycombe clear it, and it goes out for a throw into Villa inside their own half. Nedeljkovic gets ready to take it. Unai Emery has shown he's prepared to play some of these younger players in the big competitions this season. We've seen Nedeljkovic in Premier League action, Lamar Bogard in Premier League and Champions League as well. John Duran charging away down the right-hand side. Wycombe trying to stay with him, cross into the penalty area. Is well chested down there by Lowe to Hartridge, and Hartridge is happy to clear it high and away to the halfway line. Lovely first touch from Ian Maatsen, brings it under control, and Aston Villa can start again.
I think when you get a look at the game, Ali, and you look at obviously Aston Villa have had more possession, they look like the ones that are trying to take the game to Wycombe, but by far the busier goalkeeper has been the Aston Villa goalkeeper Gauci. He's made 3 quite good saves so far.
Overhit pass by Lamar Bogard. Bailey can't control it, so that goes out for a throw-in to Wycombe. Another goal at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
Oh, Ali, fear a bit now for Barrow. Chelsea 3, Barrow 0. It was a free kick, central position, 25 yards out. Jav Felix off the right-hand post, and in it went. Chelsea 3, Barrow 0.
What's the latest between Walsall and Leicester in the League Cup tonight? Lee Blakeman.
The latest is, Ali, Walsall have just nearly scored again. Williams with a long throw, flicked on towards the back post. It looked like Lakin was going to put it in. It just went wide, though. Another chance for Walsall goes begging. Half an hour gone. Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
I think I'm right right in saying as well, with the cricket now ended very soon, or right now, you'll be able to get commentary of that Walsall-Leicester game on Radio 5 Sports Extra. So here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, Wycombe 0, Villa 0. And just while we were listening to Lee there, Lubala has won Wycombe a free kick in a really good position, attacking position on the left-hand side. It's about 12-13 yards up from the byline. Sadlier stands over the ball, might even think about trying to whip one into the near post here, just tucks that long hair behind his ears. Villa have a two-man wall. Bailey's stepping away from the wall, leaving a little gap. Sadlier delivers with his right foot close to the keeper, Gauci, and straight into the breadbasket of the Villa keeper, who sprints out to the edge of the box and launches a massive long clearance downfield. Rabbit Soley is there, the Wycombe keeper, cushions a brilliant header to his left-hand side to Sadlier, and it means Wycombe can play again. So Rabbit Soley can not only do it with his hands, Joe.
Yeah, and you speak to the boys, you speak to Matt Bloomfield, and they say how calm he is on the pitch. He's
ball over the top, Lubala chasing in behind the Villa defence, angle is tight, flag is up. It's offside against Lubala. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, and Franco, he's not like normal goalkeepers who you speak to Glenn and what they're like and how wild they are normally around the dressing room and on the pitch and how lively they are. He's the most calm goalkeeper I've ever met, and he showed that then on the pitch. It's a great header out to Hartridge in the left back position there to clear the danger.
Chelsea leading Barrow by 3-0. Huddersfield Blackpool, a game in League One tonight. Let's check in with Adam Cottier.
Blackpool have taken the lead here. They've started really well since Steve Bruce took over, and Kyle Joseph has headed them ahead from close range after a fine cross on the left hand side from CJ Hamilton. Blackpool looking to make it 3 league wins from 3, and they lead 1-0.
Wycombe 0, Villa 0 here in the League Cup, third round at Adams Park. Latest at the Etihad Stadium. They're up against Watford tonight. Manchester City, John Bennett.
Manchester City 1, Watford 0. City have a free kick in a good position, but Watford will be so disappointed about the lapse for Jeremy Doku's goal, because apart from that, they've been really solid and they're unlucky to have a goal disallowed. Manchester City 1, Watford 0.
Lamar Bogard on the ball, the young Dutch defender for Villa. Buendia's quick pass into Onana, he's fouled, and it's a free kick for Villa just inside their own half. Sorry, Glenn, you were about to come in there.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at Wycombe, and Scowen, Butcher and Bakinson, they're making that midfield really difficult to get through. And when you get a look at Aston Villa's 3 in there, it's got a lot of quality, a lot of experience. Barkley, Onana and Buendia. It's important that they keep them quiet and don't let them really get a foothold in the game and start dictating proceedings.
You made them sound like a local legal firm there, Scowen, Butcher and Bakinson.
They may well be.
They may well be, based on the high street, who knows. 17 minutes gone in the first half. Wycombe 0, Villa 0. Bogard placed into Delkovic. Bailey's on the floor. The pass was intended for him. Wycombe have broken play up. Villa have it back, and Bailey is speeding away. Good run made by Onana on the right-hand side. Into the penalty area on the right. Cut back into the near post. Is blocked. Danger clear for now for Wycombe. Villa win the ball back through Nedeljkovic on the right. Plays a short pass here to Buendia. He's about 35 yards from goal. Passes across the Wycombe half. Forward it goes from Matson to young Caden Young. Bit of speed from him. Low cross into the penalty area. Buendia's touch. Flicks it up in the air. Powerfully headed away. But intercepted again by Swinkles. And at the moment, bit of Villa pressure for Wycombe to deal with. Ball is wide on the left. Wycombe getting to a good defensive position. And Villa for now decide to come back towards the halfway line. Here's Bogard. Bogard across to Nedeljkovic. Nedeljkovic back to Bogard again, walking pace, looks up and is trying to thread a pass here in between those light blue and dark blue quartered shirts up to the centre forward John Duran. Couldn't find Onana's run coming up behind him. Ball's played into the Villa half. Gauci, the goalkeeper for Villa, is out of his penalty area, finds Nedeljkovic, and Villa start to play out again.
The Balyard's always available, isn't he? As soon as that ball breaks down in the middle of the field, his first thought, can I get behind? And he just runs, just hoping he doesn't run out of legs too early this evening, because he's putting a shift in already. 19
minutes gone in the first half. Still goalless between Wycombe and Aston Villa. That was Glenn Murray you heard there. We've got the former Wycombe captain Joe Jacobson with us as well. I'm right in saying, Joe, you were playing in that game against Aston Villa here, cup tie, January 2016.
Yeah, and at the time Villa weren't in the Champions League positions. They were fighting relegation. It was a tough time with Aston Villa around the place, and there were some ugly scenes after the game with some of their players and the fans around the tunnel area. But you know, we you know, we were battling from a League Two team then, and we're a lot different to how we are now, the way we played, but we caused them a lot of problems. We managed to get a 1-1 draw and a replay back to Villa Park, which unfortunately we lost, but a great occasion for the club.
Yeah, I've just remembered as well, not only played in the game, scored in the game. Scored in the game in the 1-1, didn't you? Micah Richards scored first, and then you scored from the penalty spot.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right there. Yeah, I do remember that one now.
He definitely knows.
He knows. Joe, of course, who scored the penalty as well that took Wycombe for the only time into the Championship in the League One playoff final back in 2020. Big roars from the Wycombe fans because a pass away to the right has squirted under the boot of Leon Bailey, and it's gone out for a throw-in to Wycombe in their left back position. Currently sitting 9th in League One, unbeaten in their last 6 games in all competitions with 5 wins and a draw. They beat Cambridge United 2-1 here on Saturday. Matt Bloomfield's made 8 changes to that team, having to look after some of the players he mentioned. Gareth McCleary, now 37 years old, who's well known here at Wycombe. You might remember him from his Nottingham Forest and Reading days as well. Cameron Humphreys on loan from Ipswich, building up fitness. He's another one who's named on the bench tonight. Villa knocking it around inside their own half again, and Nana plays back to Bogard. Bogard across to the left to Swinkles, who wears number 50 for Villa tonight. Runs forward, little layoff there from Matson to Barkley. Caden Young offers to go down the left, then comes back towards Barkley. Barkley doesn't really see an option, throws his arms up in a little bit of frustration. Still toying with the ball here, just hopping backwards on one foot, controlling it with the studs of his right boot. Then it's into midfield where we find Matson again, to Swinkles on the halfway line, across to Barkley. Barkley back to Swinkles, patient again from Villa. Swinkles wants to bring it forward, comes into that Wycombe half, wide it goes to Matson, twisting and turning on the halfway line, across to Onana, but Wycombe pressing really nicely here, putting Villa under pressure.
Yeah, I think we've seen Ross Barkley a couple of times just stand on the ball, not have a forward pass, but I think it's key to keep the tempo in the ball, keep moving the ball around and trying to shift this Wycombe structure.
High diagonals played by Swinkles out to Bailey. Bailey's lost control of it. Comes back to Nedeljkovic. He tried to find Swinkles with the pass. It hit Lubala and came straight back to Bogard. On to Swinkles. Not the best pass to Matson, that. Gave a chance there for Jasper Pattenden, the right back, to come flying in with a challenge, and he's knocked it out for a throw-in to Villa. Impressive stuff from Wycombe so far. Still 0-0. And as Glenn Murray was saying earlier on, the goalkeeper that's been the busier so far in the first quarter of the game has definitely been Aston Villa's Australian Joe Gauci. Throw in which Duran can't quite control. Joe Lowe standing behind him, takes the ball off him. Now Wycombe have lost it inside their own half. That was Backinson, who was tackled by Onana. Chance for Caden Young to run at these Wycombe defenders. Step over, darts into the penalty area, might have knocked that too far. No, gets the cross in. And Rabbit Soli, the goalkeeper, dives down quickly at his near post to get on that ball. Another goal at the Etihad Stadium. John Bennett.
Second for Manchester City. Man City 2, Watford 0. It's Mateus Nunes, his first start of the season. Lovely left-footed finish from outside the box, low into the bottom corner. Man City 2, Watford 0.
Chelsea 3, Barrow 0 as well. So Chelsea and Manchester City quickly into big leads in the League Cup. Offside flag up against Lubala. Villa will get a free kick. Lee Blakeman's watching Walsall against Leicester.
And it's still 0-0. Leicester, as you'd expect, Ali, having plenty of the ball, but not troubling Tommy Simkin, though, in the Walsall goal at all. Buonanotte's put a header over the bar from a Fatau cross, and then Edouard from 20 yards out has just put one about 20 feet over. It's still Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
Commentary of that one is now over on Radio 5 Sports Extra. So as so often via the BBC Sounds app, choice of listening on League Cup football tonight. Wycombe 0, Villa 0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Walsall Leicester is 0-0, and that is on Sports Extra, with Chelsea leading 3-0, Manchester City leading Watford by 2-0. Swinkles threads it through, Duran chases, gets round the goalkeeper, angles very tight, can't direct the shot on target, hits it behind for the goal kick to Wycombe. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, but he looks lively, the big man, doesn't he? He's always willing to run in behind. Just tries to skip past the goalkeeper there, but shows him wide and angles just too tight, gets up and under it, but always an option. And he looks like he wants to add to that tally.
What have you made of John Duran, what you see? I mean, we've only watched sort of 25 minutes or so far, Joe.
Yeah, like Glenn said there, he's probably the only one who's looking to get in behind and looking to do those hard yards and make a run, make another one. Eventually he gets the ball in behind the Wycombe's back line, and he'll be disappointed himself. He didn't get off the mark early on, but I'm sure there'll be some more opportunities for him, and I've been really impressed with him so far.
Wycombe trying to bring the ball out from the back. Skura has lost it. He stays forward at the moment. Matt Butcher's dropped into his position at centre back, and Amadou Onana has the ball at his feet just inside the Villa half. Buendia, quick little turn from him, surrounded by Wycombe players, loses it. Sadlia's back there making the tackle. Now a chance for Wycombe to play out. They use Sadlia into the feet of Backinson, who was signed from Sheffield Wednesday in the summer. Centre back Joe Lowe brings the ball forward, finds Pattenden on the right hand side. Pattenden plays back to Lowe again, playing in front of that towering Frank Adams stand, the two-tiered stand on the opposite side of the field to us, which has the Bill Turnbull commentary gantry at the top of it. John Duran trying to bring a ball down, spins off his left boot, gets lucky, it lands at the feet of Buendia. Buendia's tackled, but the ball runs to Barkley, 30 yards out in a central position. Buendia's complaining that he was fouled. The free kick's gone the other way, and Buendia gets up and he's going to lose his rag. We'll have a look at that on the monitor and see what happened there. A little bit of afters on the floor, bit of wrestling?
Slight little bit. I think it's was it Lowe that falls on him, and he's quite an imposing figure, Lowe, and he smothers Buendia. Buendia doesn't like it. The referee doesn't like the reaction. It's a Wycombe free kick.
Referee just having a word here with Emi Buendia, explaining the decision, trying to get him to calm down a little bit. Brilliant for Aston Villa to see him back in action. Unai Emery, given all the football they've got to play this season, will be absolutely delighted to have him back, because he missed the entirety of last season after a bad knee injury. Lovely player to watch. Ball is headed away by Swinkles for Villa. Pattenden nods it forward. Wheeler keeps that in play. Backinson fires it wide. Wheeler now making a little run forward. It's played back to Backinson. High ball into the Villa box. Gauci makes a call, the goalkeeper, comes sprinting off his line and catches the ball cleanly, and then just decides to hold on to it for a second or two.
Good spell for Wycombe there, composed in possession, playing through the thirds, getting a delivery into the box. Not the best delivery, but it just shows that they can do that side of the game. And when you get a look at the pitch here, Ali, it's absolutely perfect. And the worry is sometimes, isn't it, is the Premier League team comes and they whiz the ball around, but Wycombe are given as good as they can get. They're very composed in possession.
27 minutes gone in the first half, still goalless. Bogard up towards Duran. Skura had a handful of Duran's shirt there, but has won the ball for Wycombe. It's been played back into the Villa half, and Gauci, the goalkeeper, just rolls it to Swinkles. Swinkles brings it quickly up to the halfway line. Chip ball down the inside left channel for Young to chase. It's way beyond him, the 18-year-old Caden Young, and Wycombe happy to let it run behind for the goal kick.
They haven't come down the left-hand side very often, have they, Villa? They've been more down Leon Bailey's side. But the one time that Young got the ball, he's absolutely rapid, and he stood on the right back up, and he went at him, he made something happen. They maybe need to start looking down that side of the pitch a little bit more.
Wycombe in a run here of 7 games in the space of 3 weeks. Busy spell for them, just as it is for Aston Villa. Still 0-0 between the two. Goal in the game between Leyton Orient and Peterborough in League One. Aaron Paul.
Equaliser for Posh, and it's come against the run of play, and guess who? Kwame Poku with his 5th goal of the season. Malik Mothersill with the low-driven ball from the right-hand side, and Poku just tucking in at the near post to drill the ball past Zach Hemming. Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough 1.
Big roar from the Wycombe fans here. Joe Gauci, the Villa keeper, hurriedly having to clear with his left foot under pressure from David Wheeler. So Wycombe take the throw, approaching the half-hour mark, very much in this cup tie. Backinson plays across to Hartridge. Sadly, stayed wide, and Hartridge went for the straight ball down the channel. Slightly at cross purposes there. Villa trying to play out here. Onana under pressure. Nedeljkovic clears up towards Buendia. Great first touch there. Then he's clipped inside his own half. No free kick. Sadly, gets it for Wycombe on the left. Tries to knock it past Nedeljkovic. Collects it the other side, but gets too much on it, and it goes behind for the goal kick. Glenn Murray.
Really bright by Wycombe. This left-hand side, sadly, looks good, always trying to get the ball on his left foot, wanting to deliver into the box all the time. But so far, Wycombe have been outstanding. And I'm just getting a look at Aston Villa's bench, actually. And if this doesn't go to plan, and if Wycombe stay in the game, and, well, they've had the better chances so far in the game, I look at the Aston Villa bench and I wonder who rescues the game for them.
Well, the only recognised first team player on there is Jacob Ramsey. Diego Carlos, the centre-back, was on there at the start of the night. He's been replaced by a young Welsh centre-half, so we'll have to find out exactly what happened there. Ball played through here by Sadlier. Lubala is onto it. Lubala's into the Villa penalty area, followed by Bogard. Tries a little back heel, hits the shins of Bogard. Hartridge forward helping the attack for Wycombe. Back heel from Sadlier, couldn't quite get it through to Hartridge. Good invention from Wycombe, it's gone out for a throw.
Growing in confidence, I would say, Ali.
So throwing Wycombe on the left, encouraging stuff from the home team. Next break in play, we'll get more thoughts from their former captain, Joe Jacobson, who's sitting alongside us in the commentary position tonight. Hartridge tucks the ball up his Wycombe shirt, dries the moisture off it. Very close to us here now in our commentary position, just a few rows away. Runs to the touchline, launches a long throw into the near post. Gauci came, stretched, nearly missed it altogether. Got a touch and he's gone behind for a corner.
Got his angles all wrong, didn't he? He came out, he was flailing, the big Australian. Knocks out for a corner. So and this is the one thing for Wycombe is Aston Villa are physically bigger than them, aren't they? Much. You can see it. We're at quite a low position in the stand here. Sadly, his curly ball better from Gauci, got his angles right there, makes a clean catch, bowls it out quickly here to Ian Matson. Matson, the left back, charging forward, fires the ball now across the Wycombe half. Great first touch from Bailey. Defenders back pedaling. Bailey goes for the curler edge of the box, well wide of the target and behind for the goal kick. More thoughts from Joe.
Yeah, Wycombe are growing into the game, like you guys have said, and I think, like I said before, the high line that they've got, they really are having the ball at the back of their back four and passing it around and trying to thread little ones through midfield. It's so compact because the back line is so high, and they're allowing them, the midfield three of Butcher, Baconton's going to press right on to Aston Villa's back three, and every time there's a turnover, Lubala's looking down the side. Villa's fullbacks are both really high down the sides and see if they can kind of get free kicks, get throw-ins up the pitch and see what they can do from there, but be really positive so far.
Into the last 15 minutes of the first half. Wycombe 0, Villa 0. Barclays tackle, penalty in front of Aaron Paul.
Penalty for Peterborough. Kwame Poku trying to round goalkeeper Zach Hemming. He was brought down. But Malik Motherseal with a chance to take Peterborough into a lead at the break. He does, just sending the ball calmly past the Leyton Orient goalkeeper. Peterborough have turned this tie on its head. Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough 2. We're into added on time.
Wycombe 0, Villa 0. That's in League One. This is in the League Cup. Next break in play, we'll get the half-time on Wigan Stevenage in League One as well. But Amadou Onana is on the charge. Long, rangy legs taking him forward. The pass goes behind for a goal kick. Leon Bailey hadn't made the run that Onana thought he was going to, so it drifts harmlessly behind. Sani Rudravajala's watching Wigan against Stevenage.
Wigan 0, Stevenage 0. The expected goals is 0.1 to 0.07. Wigan have been neat, Callum McManaman lively, no shots on target, one shot from each off target. Stevenage goalless with Wigan Athletic. Wigan 0, Stevenage 0.
League Cup half-time at the Etihad Stadium. John Bennett.
Manchester City 2, Watford 0. The goals for Jeremy Doku after Watford failed to recover from an awful back pass, and Mateus Nunes with a beautiful left-footed shot. But Watford will feel hard done by. A goal by Kwadwo Bar disallowed harshly for a foul in the build-up. Man City 2, Watford 0.
Still Wycombe 0, Villa 0. Villa inside their own half. Caden Young's had to come back just to keep a ball in play. Swinkles with a touch and turn and plays back to his goalkeeper Gauci. He just side foots a pass to his right. Bogard is able to bring the ball a few yards up the field. Finds Nedeljkovic, the right back. Doesn't see an option ahead of him. And then a pass into Gauci. He did well to control that because Lubala was very close. And then Gauci with the pass out knocks it straight out for a throw-in. This is a young Villa backline, an experienced Villa backline, and Wycombe are putting them under a bit of pressure.
They are, and sometimes it might not be fashionable, but that long ball forward when a defender's running back towards his own goal, doesn't quite know where he is, you often mistakes happen, and Scowen just picked it up there. I thought if he had a better touch, he could have unleashed the shot. Touch was a bit sloppy.
John Southall's going to be waiting for his half-time cup of tea at Stamford Bridge, so I'm going to get you there as soon as we can. But John Duran's on the ball for Villa. No, there's a foul there committed by Duran. Wycombe free kick. John, half-time at Stamford Bridge.
Where Chelsea lead Barrow by 3-0. Chelsea 2 up within 8 minutes, both from Christopher and Nkunku. The first finishing off a terrific Felix through ball. The second, a lovely flick at the near post. He is a natural finisher. Emil Aqua volleyed over at 2-0. That was Barrow's best chance. Then the third, Felix 20-yard free kick off the right post. off the back of the goalkeeper Paul Farman, and that's been given as a Farman own goal. Chelsea 3, Barrow 0.
Chelsea scoring goals for fun this season. Free kick for Wycombe into the penalty area. The shot is tame and straight at Gauci. Difficult one to hit first time from Wheeler, coming over his shoulder.
No, it wasn't, Ali. It was a big chance. He should have put it back across goal. He went for goal. Don't think he quite got the purchase on it. He would have liked, but he had men over at the back stick. If it's the right ball, Wycombe go 1-0 up.
Okay. Difficult for me, maybe not for you, Glenn. I think that's probably what I'm saying.
What does Joe think?
Yeah. Hang on a second, Joe. Here's Barkley. Plays it through the middle. Chance from the edge of the box. Shot is struck and blocked. It was Nedeljkovic who was forward there, the right back to hit it. He made a great run on the inside. Fabulous block, and it goes out for a Villa throw. Back to the Wycombe chance, Joe.
I agree. I think he's got to go for goal there. I think, there's players across the box. It's got to be a perfect one. When it's on the full like that, I think you've just got to try and not so much side foot it, just hit it into the ground. On this, the surface is so slick, so fast, that if you get them right, just kind of scuff them sometimes and they go in.
There you go, Ali.
I'm a defender though. He's the striker. He's the one who's up there all the time.
You two know what you're talking about, and I'm doing my best just to paint the pictures on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this evening. This is League Cup third round action. We're at Anfield tomorrow night, by the way. Full commentary on Liverpool against West Ham. Villa have given the ball away inside their own half. Chance potentially for Wycombe. Strong challenge by Bogard on Scowen. Play continues. Butcher plays it to Sadlier. Sadlier on his left foot drives it across the penalty area. Matson is there. Calmly passes to Barkley, who in turn finds Caden Young. Matson was caught by a challenge as he played the ball away. Villa continue. Here's Barkley inside his own half. Across to Onana. Lovely first time pass. Finds Buendia. Buendia on the dribble. Across to Duran. 25 yards out. Works it onto the left foot. Drives it low. Well wide. And behind for the goal kick. Adam Cottier has seen a goal in League One. Huddersfield against Blackpool. Adam.
And Blackpool are 2-0 up here. CJ Hamilton with a goal. Huddersfield have been sloppy. They've lost their defender, Mihail Helik, to injury. And CJ Hamilton got a lucky ricochet in the penalty area on his left foot. And he put it past the keeper, via the keeper, into the net. 2-0 to Blackpool.
Half-time Walsall Leicester in the Carabao Cup tonight. Lee Blakeman.
Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Leicester with most of the ball. Walsall with the better of the chances. Danny Ward made a great save low down to his right to deny Charlie Lakin from 12 yards. Then Lakin again with a chance at the back post. Just put it wide though. Leicester, half chances at best. Curtis Davis.
Yeah, a lot of ooze from Leicester, but nothing of too much substance to Tess Simkin. But yeah, Walsall have done really well on the break. They've been very organised, left that wall of 5 in front of the back line to stop any potential moves from Leicester. But when they've come forward, when they've had those half chances, they're the ones that have made those telling shots on target. But unfortunately, Lakin had 2 where he probably should have scored, and they could have been a couple up.
Game on here, half time, Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
Thanks, Lee. Second half commentary of that one over on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Glenn Murray, this is Wycombe 0, Villa 0, and we have got 8 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, I'm just looking, and as Wycombe are growing in ascendancy, they're pushing players forward.
Like this down the right. Fabulous ball and control here from Wheeler. Turns on the edge of the box. Now looking for an option. Plays it behind him. Pattendon in support. Wide it goes to the right-hand side. Villa get men back. Matson thought about clearing. Challenge on him, and the ball is knocked behind and out for a Villa restart.
What I was going to go on to say is as they grow in ascendancy, they're pushing men forward in abundance. You've got to get that balance right, because that's when your Leon Baileys, your John Durans, they spark into life when there's space in behind. And a couple of times they've nearly been caught.
Matson right down by the corner flag in the left back position, passes the ball down the line. It took a flick off a Wycombe player and goes out for another throw into Aston Villa. Half-time Leighton Orient Peterborough. Aaron Paul.
Orient 1, Peterborough 2. Tom James, quality opener for Orient, was quickly overturned by a near post Kwame Poku finish, and then a penalty from Malik Mothersill in first half injury time. Orient have been excellent, but going at the break 2-1 behind. Orient 1, Peterborough 2.
Ball's gone out for a Wycombe throw on the right. Late stages of the first half here at Adams Park, and they've got a throw in the League One team. Players buzzing about, trying to make space. Matt Butcher gets it on the volley, side foots it back, played forward on the half volley, stretched from Onana, and then it's knocked forward by Wycombe and into the arms of Joe Gauci. Half time in League One, Huddersfield 1, Blackpool 2 is a half time scoreline. This is Wycombe 0, Villa 0, and it's young Swinkles, the Dutchman, in his white Villa shirt with the claret trim. Couple of touches, plays to another Dutchman, Ian Matson, on the left, back to Swinkles, strokes it into midfield. Buendia, cross to Maatsen. Maatsen finds Barkley. All of this inside the Villa half at the moment. And Swinkles again, who's seeing a lot of the ball for Villa. Lubala just stands off him at the moment, so Swinkles 7 or 8 yards forward he goes. Then he turns and plays back to his goalkeeper, Gauchi. Gauchi out to Bogard. Bogard forward to Onana. Little 1-2 between that pair. Bogard at walking pace. Onana just makes a little run into the midfield. Duran lays it off though to Buendia. Buendia is caught. Had his foot trodden on as he brought it forward. John Duran is down hurt for Aston Villa as well, just inside his own half, and took a knock off the ball. Blackpool leading Huddersfield by 2-0. I beg your pardon. So that is a half-time score in League One. John Duran, what happened to him there, Glenn?
He ran into the oncoming Scowen, who was sort of scampering back, and the little of the two men was left standing, and the big one collapsed.
He's a strong boy, Josh Scowen.
Josh Scowen is the Wycombe captain. Second spell here at Wycombe. 4th season of that second spell. 31 years old now. There's Butcher, Matt Butcher, who started his career at Bournemouth, won promotion from League One with Plymouth a couple of seasons ago, helped them get up to the Championship. Maatsen turning in the Villa left back position. David Wheeler won't leave him alone. Maatsen forced backwards, plays to Swinkles, who's got into a good position for him, digs his left foot under the ball, floats it up towards the halfway line, headed forward by Backinson. Duran was sat down on the turf again, picks himself up. He's interested now because Villa are on the attack, and here's Bailey, support from Nedeljkovic on the right. Bailey back heels the ball to the young Serb, plays it in field to Onana, out to Bailey, little trick from Bailey, dances onto his left foot, looks to get the pass through the Wycombe midfield. It's blocked, comes back to Nedeljkovic, he uses Onana, and Aston Villa change the angle of attack, and they come over to the left-hand side. 3.5 minutes remaining, plus added time in the first half. It's Caden Young on the dribble, he's tackled. Ball to Sadlier, stooping header from Sadlier, and then the challenge from Onana in midfield, barges into Scowen, who does go down this time, but he was off balance. Referee says it's a foul. Free kick to Wycombe.
Big man, little man again. And this time the little man comes off worse, but it was a foul. Onana's a big, towering figure, and he comes right across Scowen. Scowen knows what he's doing, just taps the ball in front of him. Onana comes across, and he just buys that free kick in the middle of the field.
Very satisfactory, more than satisfactory first half performance from Wycombe Wanderers. Joe said to us right at the start of the night that he fancied their chances this evening, didn't you, Joe? And they're proving exactly that.
Yeah, I just think when you change so many players, I know Wycombe have changed 8 players tonight, but they've all played this season in the league. See how this free kick
over the top into the Villa penalty area, nodded down. Bogard is there, passes out with his left foot. Villa could be dangerous on the counter here. Buendia gets those little legs pumping, plays it to Leon Bailey, chases this ball down the right-hand side, up against Hartridge, takes him into the penalty area, goes on the outside, looks for the cutback. Hartridge blocks it, it goes behind for the corner. Joe?
Yeah, but I think there's the big moments for Villa is on transitions. When Wycombe are attacking, they're committing men forward from set pieces or from open play. It's that transition where Villa can do things quickly, get Buendia into little pockets, get Bailey running 1v1, and that's where they're the most dangerous. When they recycle the ball and it goes along the back four and Wycombe can get into their shape, then it's a little bit more difficult for Villa, so those transitions are so important.
Former Wycombe captain Joe Jacobson with us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Glenn Murray's here as well. Wycombe 0, Villa 0. Corner then for Villa late in this first half. Bailey takes it with his left foot, headed out of the penalty area. Bailey just lets that run past him, and it goes out for a throw-in to Villa on the right. Nedeljkovic comes trotting to the side, receives the ball, takes the throw. Now plays a pass back to Swinkles, 40 yards from goal in the middle of the Wycombe half, just across to Maatsen here. Maatsen to Barkley, plays it straight back to Swinkles, gives it to Barkley again. Barkley 10 yards inside this Wycombe half. Couple of touches, Caden Young starts to just trot in from the left wing. Swinkles passes the ball to Barkley again, goes wide to Maatsen, who swapped positions with Young. Young takes that nicely, turns away from the defender, brings the ball infield, flicks it to Buendia. Buendia darts between a couple of defenders, then he's tackled, and then Lubala, crashed into the back of by Bogard, wins the free kick for Wycombe. Glenn Murray.
Good centre forward play there. He knows it's coming up to him, he holds his ground, he knows the challenge coming, Rides the challenge, holds the ball, buys himself a free kick, takes the pressure off his team.
4 ties in the third round of the League Cup tonight. Chelsea are 3-0 up at home against Barrow. Manchester City leading Watford by 2-0. Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Second half commentary of that one on Radio 5 Sports Extra. And here it's Wycombe 0, Villa 0. Lubala making it awkward for Bogard, turns away from him into the Villa box, lays it back to the edge of the box, and then Butcher gets underneath the left-footed shot. It clears the heads of the Villa fans in that end away to our left-hand side and nearly clears the roof.
Yeah, again though, Bogard, ball on him, doesn't really know, get his body position right, he's all at sea. And it's Lubala who gets under him, lays a lovely ball back. Just doesn't keep it down, does he? Just gets under it. Butcher, good chance. Gone begging.
1 minute of added time at the end of this first half. Just being announced around the stadium right now. Gauci, the Villa goalkeeper, teasing Lubala. He's standing outside his penalty area. Passes to his left to Swinkles. Swinkles up to the halfway line. Barkley gets involved for Villa. Plays to Matson on the left-hand side. Wycombe have got that all covered. So Villa come back to Swinkles again. Sil Swinkles looks up, now chips one over the top of that Wycombe defence. Buendia tries to chest it down to Duran. He's followed by Backinson. Backinson's clearance reached Barkley. Barkley couldn't find Bailey on the right hand side. Sadlier plays it back to Skura. Lubala stretching towards that, thought he might handball it, he didn't. Anana does really well to get away from him. Anana then thinks about the pass, keeps it wide on the right for Villa, plays back to the halfway line to Bogard. Half-time whistle is going to blow any second here. Villa going to get a late strike in on goal. They had the best chance of the first half. It fell to John Duran in the very first minute of the game when Leon Bailey played him through. He couldn't take it. Ever since then, Wycombe have grown in the game. And actually, as you were saying, Glenn Murray, Joe Gauci of the two goalkeepers, Villa's keeper's actually been the busier.
He has. I think when Unai Emery gets a look, he'll be disappointed because his side have had 6 shots with 0 on target. The first thing you want to do when you come somewhere like this is ask a question of the goalkeeper. Whereas Wycombe, 5 shots, 4 on target, asking questions of Gauci. Positive first half for Wycombe.
Yeah, and Joe Jacobson, was that exact? I mean, 8 changes, you mentioned it, made by Matt Bloomfield. Was that the sort of performance you expected from Wycombe tonight so far?
Yeah, I think whatever team he's put out this season, they've kind of got their identity nailed on at the minute, and everyone's kind of running, everyone knows their positions. The back four have played together. Yes, there's been changes, but like I said before, everyone's kind of played their part this season, so it's not like you've got new players coming in for the first game of the season. So I think you can see that unity there, whereas Aston Villa, there's a couple of times where the keepers come out of flat. There's been a little bit of miscommunication between the back lads, and one little mistake like that can let an opener for Wycombe.
No goals as yet. Half-time at Adams Park in the third round of the League Cup. Playing for a place in the last 16 tonight. Wycombe 0, Aston Villa 0.
Alistair Bruce-Boyle, Glenn Murray, thank you very much. Joe Jacobson, just one more to you on Wycombe and their first half performance. I mean, you know what these players are capable of and what they're showing here. And we heard from Matt Bloomfield earlier talking about the fact that they do play a slightly different style of football than you did under Gareth Ainsworth. But yet it doesn't feel that they're tied to that. They'll still go for that long pass if required.
Yeah, and when you've got someone like David Wheeler out on the right wing who's a mismatch up against Ian Matson in the air. David Wheeler's so strong in the air, and you can use him as a platform as well, and especially when Villa have got a full press on, they're leaving man for man at the back. If you can get the ball into an aerial duel as such, that these Villa players aren't normally used to playing in the Premier League or playing in the Academy Premier League. And Wycombe have to use these things to their advantage as much as possible, and if there's once or twice where Bez Lubala with balls over the top has got his body in, used his experience against inexperienced defenders in Bogard and Swinkles, and got the ball up the pitch for Wycombe, and I think that's their way into this game and their way to kind of cause problems, get free kicks, get thrown, get set pieces, to then put the big lads up from the back and try and get a goal that way.
Joe, thank you very much. It is in the balance at half-time at Adams Park. It's Wycombe 0, Aston Villa 0. Second half commentary coming up of that. We'll take you around all the action elsewhere. 3 games in League One, 4 in the EFL Cup this evening after the BBC News with Dan Maudsley.
The voice of the UK.
And the home of the Premier League.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Good evening. Sir Keir Starmer has promised a Britain that is built to last in his first Labour conference speech since becoming Prime Minister. He vowed to ignite the national renewal the country wanted, but warned that tough decisions lay ahead. Our political correspondent, Rob Watson, was at the conference in Liverpool and says the speech was more about personality than policy.
This was, I think, much more, if you like, about him personally and about his values and about where he wants Labour to position itself, and this sort of idea that he keeps repeating, which of course makes for tricky conference speeches, that, you know, he's not about rhetoric and that he's not about three-word slogans, that things won't be easy.
Around 700 additional UK military personnel are being flown to Cyprus as part of military plans to conduct an evacuation of British nationals from Lebanon if necessary, amid the deepening conflict between Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. Nearly 30,000 people have been registered as newly displaced in Lebanon, with Israel continuing its aerial bombardment of the country. A targeted strike in Beirut injured 15 people and killed 6, including a top Hezbollah commander. Our correspondent Anna Foster is in the Lebanese capital.
Israel say that they killed Ibrahim Mohammed Kabisi, who they say was responsible for Hezbollah's rocket program. Now, you see around the areas like the Bekaa Valley and around through the south of Lebanon, attacks on Hezbollah ammunition, on where they're actually holding their weapons. And then here in Beirut, you see attacks on people, personnel, on those figures at the top of Hezbollah.
The number of people in Scotland living in temporary accommodation because of homelessness is at a record high. As of March this year, more than 16,000 people were in the system, according to Scottish Government figures released today. That's a 9% increase on the year before. And Senate members have voted to withdraw plans to force parties to ensure at least 50% of candidates are women in Welsh parliamentary elections. The Conservatives joined Labour in voting against the plan, originally proposed by Labour when Mark Drakeford was First Minister. Plaid Cymru described the U-turn as shameful.
5 Live Breakfast.
This week, the Labour Party conference is underway in Liverpool. I've been speaking to the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, following his speech to his party's members. You can hear the full interview tomorrow on 5 Live Breakfast.
5 Live Breakfast. Listen weekdays from 6 on BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sport.
With Kelly Cates.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
EFL Cup and League One action this evening. 3 games in League One. In the EFL Cup, there are 4 matches. Our commentary game is Wycombe against Aston Villa. That's currently 0-0. We'll be back there very shortly for second half commentary. In the meantime, let's check in at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea against Barrow. John Southall.
And Chelsea have a fourth early in the second half. Chelsea 4, Barrow 0. Mudryk on the left-hand side played in. Pedro Neto unmarked 10 yards out, and he scored his first Chelsea goal. Chelsea piling forward again. And also significantly, Ben Chilwell, we thought we'd seen the end of him in a Chelsea shirt, but he's a second half sub. His last appearance, the 20th of April, the FA Cup semi-final, and he is back for Chelsea, and he's been given the captain's armband. Chelsea 4, Barrow 0.
Thank you, John. It's also relatively comfortable for Manchester City against Watford. John Bennett.
Yes, Manchester City 2, Watford 0. Savinho is on for Doku in the second half. Doku, one of the players who started this game and the game on Sunday as well. A rare attack right now for Watford, who did have a goal controversially disallowed in the first half. But as you said, is comfortable. Man City 2, Watford 0.
So if we're looking for an upset, might we get one at Walsall? Lee Blakeman.
You might, Kelly, because how Walsall are not ahead, I have no idea. It's 0-0. They had the 2 best chances in the first half and then arguably the best of the bunch at the start of the second. Leicester just switched off at the back. Nathan Lowe picked it up inside the area left side, rolled it back to Adoma, who from 10 yards out dragged his shot wide of the bottom corner. Curtis Davis.
Fatu way too casual in the bottom corner. Bottom right corner, tries to play it back to Conor Cody, loses the ball to Lowe, Lowe rolls it across, and Adoma just scuffs his shot with the left foot, drags it past the post, and that's 3 chances gone begging for Walsall now.
Upset still on here, Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
Thank you very much. We'll check in everywhere ahead of the start of the second half in the game between Wycombe and Aston Villa very shortly. But also we'll bring you the latest on the cricket, because England went into the third ODI against Australia 2-0 down in the series. It means it was a must win for them in the day-nighter at the Riverside, and they did win. Eleanor Oldroyd was watching.
Well, the rain we had here at Durham brought an early end to proceedings, but England win by 6 wickets on Duckworth Lewis Stern. 254 for 4 they were when the rain came down, chasing that target of 305, with Harry Brook 110 not out and Liam Livingstone on 33. But that partnership between Brook and Jacks, 156 for the 3rd wicket, really laid a foundation for England to have a morale-boosting victory. Alongside me is Durham coach and former Australian ODI player Ryan Campbell, and it was in the end a game to bring the series alive again.
Well, it was a walk in the park, really, wasn't it? You thought that early on Australia 300. The way they finished, they went in with all the momentum, and then of course a couple of wickets early. But I think the way that Will Jacks and Harry Brook went about that partnership really took the steam out of Australia. I hate to say it, they actually batted more almost red ballish style in that, just took the steam out. It rotated the strike nicely, and you know that once those guys can get set, they're going to hit boundaries, and they're 4s and 6 hitters. We know that, and that partnership, without jumping off, saying how massive everything is, but that's a big thing in England's ODI future, because you've got 2 young guys who are going to be so important to the future of this ODI team, and the way they went about it, very, very exciting.
And a confidence builder for Harry Brook as well, because, we've talked a lot about the experience that Australia have in this ODI format. They're the reigning world champions. They were 14 games without a defeat going back to that World Cup nearly a year ago now. But England's players haven't had that experience. But they paced their innings really well, didn't they? They paced that run chase as you should at a 50-over game.
Yeah, 100%. And that's probably something that's been lacking in those first 2 games. Like I say, there was almost, I hate to say it, a bit of common sense about how they went about it, which, the team has got so many stroke makers, but they still have to have a bit of common sense about how they go, a bit of batsmanship about what they do. And, we've seen Joe Root be such a glue for England in all forms of the game, but particularly in this format. I just wonder if Harry Brook can be that guy now, and the way he goes about it, because he's such an exciting player to watch. And this is an Aussie talking about the English captain here. But yeah, he's a player that the world is at his feet.
Ryan, great to have you with us today here on 5 Live and Test Match Special. And TMS will be back on Friday at Lord's and then on Sunday at Bristol, with the series still alive.
Let's hear then from the man who is a pleasure to watch, England's captain, the century maker, Harry Brook, with Alison Mitchell.
Harry, what a feeling. You get the win as captain and 100 as well. What are your overriding emotions?
Yeah, obviously relieved, but yeah, very pleased with the way that we've gone about the game there, and yeah, it's nice to get my first 100.
You did look relieved, I have to say, when you got the 100, a big puff of the cheeks. How had you been feeling about your game in the ODI format?
Not just the ODIs, but this summer I've felt like I haven't performed as well as I could have done. I haven't got the amount of runs I wanted to get. Obviously high expectations and all that, but I didn't feel like my game was in best order, but yeah, it's nice to get a score out there.
Series is still alive then. On to Lord's, more of the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've said so many times, just keep on looking to put the bowler under pressure and trying to take wickets throughout, and yeah, that'll hold us in good stead.
And on Friday, you can hear ball-by-ball coverage of the 4th ODI at Lord's on Sports Extra and BBC Sounds from 12:30. There's highlights of this game on BBC Two at 11:05 this evening. Big week coming up for Arsenal's women. They face a crucial second leg of their Champions League qualifier on Thursday. They lost the first leg to Swedish side Häcken 1-0. The brand new episode of the Women's Football Weekly podcast is out today. Former Arsenal defender Jen Beattie is now part of our team.
The disappointment of not making Champions League in prior seasons really sits quite badly with them as a club. I think what they want to do and achieve in all competitions is really obvious, and obviously they were massively disappointed with that result, even regardless of how the game played out, dominating the ball, creating chances and just not putting them away. I think they're definitely getting frustrated with that narrative coming off the back of last season of a few games going that way, going that direction of dominating but not getting the goals. So, of course, at this point, the second leg game, I've no doubt, will be completely different, though. I think they know where they went wrong. They know they're still creating, but 100% it's massive for them as a club. 1 point on the board at the weekend, but all focus has to go into this Aachen game midweek and really getting the goals flowing, getting into a rhythm as quickly as possible and as soon as they can, because getting through Champions League is an absolute priority for them.
And Jen Beattie's alongside Ellen White and Ben Haynes for the new season of Women's Football Weekly. You can listen to that chat in full on the latest episode on BBC Sounds. Let's round up what's happening in League One before we head back to EFL Cup action, starting with Leyton Orient against Peterborough. Aaron Paul's there.
Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough 2, 5 minutes played in this second half. Orient playing some really good stuff in the first half and maybe a bit surprised to come in behind in the second. They've had the best opportunity of the second 45. Ollie O'Neill, left-footed shot from the left side of the box, but just dragged a touch wide. Orient pushing for an equaliser. Plenty of time to go though here, Kelly. Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough United 2.
Thanks, Aaron. Watching Huddersfield and Blackpool, Adam Cottier.
And it's Huddersfield 0, Blackpool 2. When Steve Bruce was the Huddersfield manager 25 years ago, he wrote some books. His latest chapter starting really well. Kyle Joseph heading Blackpool into a first half lead here from close range before CJ Hamilton, who'd set up the first goal, fired in a second, left-footed. Huddersfield have been sloppy. Blackpool heading for a third straight league win under Steve Bruce. They lead 2-0.
Adam, excellent recommendation, those Steve Bruce books as well. Wigan Athletic against Stevenage. Sani Rodravagula.
Kelly, so little has happened here. 12 minutes into the second half. Wigan Athletic 0, Stevenage 0. One shot from each not even on target, so I'm getting ahead of myself. Nothing on target so far. Callum McManaman has been lively. James Carragher, son of Jamie's, come on as a sub. Thilo Asgard, who's the top scorer, also on as a sub for Wigan. But very little action at all. Wigan Athletic 0, Stevenage 0.
Sani, will send you one of Steve Bruce's books that Adam was talking about. Let's check in at the EFL Cup. Big chance for Chelsea. John Southall.
Yeah, they lead Barrow by 4-0. Corner over on the left-hand side. Axel Disasi about 6 yards out with it. Had a good save by Farman, the goalkeeper. Here come Chelsea again. And Axel Disasi's effort there is cleared away. I think Farman's going to be busy in this second half. The one meeting ever between these sides was in 1948. Chelsea won 5-0. I think we might get a few more tonight. Chelsea 4, Barrow 0.
Walsall taking on Leicester City and Lee Blakeman.
0-0, Walsall with a free kick, edge of the area, just to the right of the D, about 19 yards out. Adoma standing over this with his right foot. Lakin's there as well with his left. Adoma leaves it. Shot's going to go over the wall, hits the wall. Adoma with the follow-up. Leicester will clear again. Still 0-0 between the two teams here.
Goal at Leyton Orient, Aaron Paul.
Did say they were hunting for an equaliser and Leyton Orient have got one. Bit of a scramble in the penalty area, but the ball falling for Charlie Kelman. He took a touch, steadied himself and drilled the ball, which took a deflection and fell and trickled into the back of Jed Steers' net. Leyton Orient 2, Peterborough United 2.
And let's check in on Manchester City to complete the set. John Bennett.
Manchester City 2, Watford 0. The Man City goalkeeper Stefan Ortega could read striker by Steve Bruce in the second half. He's had very little to do. It's all Man City. Foden had a shot wide. Savino with a shot into the side netting. Manchester City 2, Watford 0.
Thank you very much for that, John. So that takes us very nicely into just about the start of the second half at Adams Park. It's Wycombe 0, Aston Villa 0. Joe Jacobson, former Wycombe captain, is there. Glenn Murray is there, and so too Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Thank you, Kelly. Teams are just back with us. They've come out quickly, lined themselves up. They're ready to go. Second half, League One, Wycombe will kick us off. They are in the quartered shirts, dark blue and light blue, dark blue shorts and blue socks. They'll play from left to right in this second half towards the Beach Dean Terrace away to our right hand side, and they certainly gave as good as they got in the first half against Premier League Aston Villa. Neither manager has made a change in personnel. Wycombe putting some early pressure on the Villa penalty area. Backinson leans forward to win a header. David Wheeler stabs a ball with his right foot. That is intercepted on the corner of the Villa box. Lost though, little cut back into the penalty area from Scowen. Strike is deflected and wide and goes behind for an early Wycombe corner. Well hit from the edge of the box, caught a Villa defender, and Wycombe have come out of the blocks fast at the start of this second half.
Yeah, it fell so nicely there, didn't it? For Butcher, just on the edge of the area, left foot opens his left foot up, gets good purchase on the ball.
Corner comes in towards the back post. Villa with defending to do, haven't got this clear just yet. Now Ian Matson has the ball at his feet, tries to get it forward to 18-year-old Caden Young. It's intercepted. Villa get it back. Matson plays it down the left to John Duran, the danger man. Left-footed pass from him. Switches play quickly from left to right. Bailey. The ball just runs between his legs, but he's able to keep it for Villa. Supporting run by the young Serb Nedeljkovic down that right-hand side. Finds Onana infield here to Nedeljkovic, who starts to head away from goal and back towards the halfway line. Still Swinkles, the left-sided centre-back, finds Maatsen to Bogard for Villa, forward to Onana looking for options in the middle of the Wycombe half. Caden Young is holding the width in front of us here on the left-hand side, and Barkley's tried a little dribble, he's lost it, and John Duran saw the danger, comes back quickly for Villa and wins the ball back for them. Now John Duran will pretty much shoot from anywhere. He's not going to shoot from there though, he is just inside the Wycombe half, but we've seen what he can do with that left foot. It's a fabulous winner against Everton in the Premier League a couple of weeks ago. Here's Bailey on the right-hand side. Back to fitness for Villa. Lays it off to Nedeljkovic. Wycombe are back in numbers. You can hear the rhythmic beat of the drum in the background here. Onana in that inside right channel for Villa, but Wycombe defending well again, just pushing Villa back towards the halfway line. Swinkles continues to run forward, fancies a dip, gets underneath it, puts it way over the bar and behind for a goal kick to Wycombe. Let me get you through the two teams very quickly. Franco Ravizzoli is the Argentine keeper for Wycombe. Back four of Jasper Pattenden, Joe Lowe, Declan Skura and Alex Hartridge. Tyreek Backinson, Matt Butcher and the skipper Josh Scowen, the midfield three. David Wheeler, Kieran Sadlier in support of Berily Lubala, the centre forward. Long ball downfield from the keeper, drops inside the Villa half. Onana gets a foot on it, Bailey goes down. Wycombe have it with Hartridge, slides a clever pass down the channel to Butcher, who can't quite control that, and then Villa will just shepherd the ball out of play and it will go behind for a goal kick. So Glenn Murray, early thoughts on the second half. Wycombe started that second half, first couple of minutes, really well. Well, they started the second half as they finished the first half, in all honesty. They've been extremely good throughout, asking questions of Aston Villa. And like I say, just about that balance, just don't want to overcommit going forward, because that's when Aston Villa will punish you with that pace, that power up front they've got. Obviously John Duran, like we say, scores from anywhere, but they need to hit the target. They haven't hit the target once yet. As Glenn mentioned in the first half as well, Jacob Ramsey is the only sort of recognised first team player on the Villa bench. Otherwise it is youngsters academy product, so there's no Ollie Watkins, for example, to come on if Villa need a goal if they go 1-0 down. Unai Emery has decided that is the way to go this evening. I'll give you the Villa team, the starting 11 in just a second. We'll get some more thoughts from Joe Jacobson as well. Free kick for Villa inside their own half, just short of the halfway line. The Australian Joe Gauci in goal. Costa Nedeljkovic is right back, Ian Maatsen left back, Lamar Bogard and Sil Swinkles the two centre backs, Onana and Barkley in central midfield, Bailey Buendia and Caden Young, the 18-year-old, in behind John Duran, who had one fabulous chance right at the start of the game, couldn't take it, and hasn't really had a clear sight of goal since then. More of the same, I reckon, Joe, from Wycombe in the second half?
Yeah, I think so. I think Matt Bloomfield's team talking at half-time will be more of the same. However, don't get too complacent and think that you've done anything just yet. I think they'll expect Villa to be a bit more lively around, especially around the 18-yard box, and probably create more chances as the game gets on, but also use those big diagonal balls to David Wheeler a lot more. I think the start of the second half, the pressure came from him winning the ball into the corner, picking up the second balls, and it might be a little bit ugly at times, but if that's the way to win, that's the way to win. Backinson heads it forward for Wycombe. They're inside the Villa half. Backinson under pressure from Buendia. Villa have it, Duran prods it forward, Young just tries to knock it round Scowen. Scowen does enough for Wycombe here, it's loose and scrappy inside the Wycombe half, and Backinson takes it away from Duran and plays back to his goalkeeper. Played really well, Backinson, hasn't he? Just sat in front of that back four. Anything that comes, he's always protecting, always biting at people's ankles, and when he does get the ball, keeps it simple. Really good player. Spotted at half-time that former Villa manager Brian Little is on commentary duties. I think that's for Villa TV this evening. The ball is played to the left-hand side here for Sadlier. Sadlier, good strength, holds on to it. Back it comes. Hartridge's cross into the Villa box. Villa struggling to get it away. Bogard gets a foot on it. Buendia plays it to his left-hand side. Brian Little, the man in charge when Villa won that last trophy. Major piece of domestic silverware, the League Cup, back in 1996 with their 3-0 win over Howard Wilkinson's Leeds. Here's Onana. Onana in the centre circle. Little back heel to himself.
Plays back to Swinkles. Swinkles forward here to Maatsen. Maatsen just draws Libala towards him, then releases the pass to Bogard. Bogard to the right finds Bailey. Bailey quickly forward to Buendia. Backinson's in there again. This time it's a foul, and that'll be a free kick for Aston Villa.
Yeah, Buendia moves the ball well there, doesn't he? Just shifts his body weight, quick, sharp. Backinson catches him, and free kick in a fairly dangerous position for Aston Villa.
Yeah, it's about 15 yards inside the Wycombe half in the inside right channel. So Villa winning that League Cup in 1996. Only Liverpool, Manchester City and Manchester United have won this competition more times than Aston Villa. 5 times they've won it in their history, and lost 4 other finals as well. Most recently, actually, against Manchester City in 2020, and won the first ever League Cup when they beat Rotherham 3-2 on aggregate back in 1961. Every day's a school day. Here's Maatsen with the free kick. Looks too close to the goalkeeper, Ravitsoli, who's able to come off his line. All in purple, Wycombe's keeper this evening. Makes the catch and decides to hold on to the ball for now. Then thinks about slinging it out to the right. Scowen had made a run, decides to hold on to it again. Then fires it forward into the night sky with his right foot. The ball spinning away to our right. No extra time in the League Cup tonight, so it'll be penalties to settle it if need be. Scowen's ball into Libala in the penalty area, edge of the box, trying to make space for a shot. Villa get enough bodies in the way. Now they clear it, and now there's danger for Wycombe. Buendia on the move inside the Wycombe half. Backinson's trying to get back to hold him up. He's fouled him, but he's done the job for his team. He might get booked for this though, Joe.
Yeah, I actually think it's a good foul. Sometimes you say that in football where Buendia's on the break. It's that transition where Villa seems so bright and most dangerous, I think, tonight. As soon as we can get back in numbers, and it's been difficult for them. But on the break then, on the counter-attack, Buendia had his space. Backinson, I think, just did really well, holding him up. Yes, it's a yellow card, but I think it's 1-0 take for the team.
Yeah, he recognises the danger, doesn't he? And he takes one for the team, gets a yellow card, just smothers Buendia, doesn't he? And just stops that attack when Aston Villa looked in full flow.
Playing for a place in the last 16 of the League Cup tonight. Chelsea, I think, are heading that way. 4-0 up against Barrow in the second half. That game kicked off at 7:45. Manchester City still leading Watford by 2-0. And there's commentary of Walsall-Leicester over on Radio 5 Sports Extra, which remains goalless. Swinkles to Maatsen. Maatsen thought about taking it left, comes back to Swinkles again. Here's Maatsen just inside his own half. David Wheeler close by. Swinkles plays it across to Bogard. Bogard has to just turn and go back a few yards to collect the pass. Then brings it forward into the feet of Onana. Back to Bogard. Then the players in the white Villa shirts make their moves. Good movement as well, but then it skips away from Nedeljkovic down the right, and it goes out for a Wycombe throw.
The one time that Aston Villa do get in behind Wycombe there, and he just skips away from Nedeljkovic. Doesn't quite read the ball quite right, does he?
No, I thought, he moved towards it. I think he thought he had more space than he actually did, and it got away from him. There's the throw anyway, long throw from Hartridge down the left. Nedeljkovic reads that one correctly and heads it away. Bogard with a second header, knocked forward into the Wycombe half. Barkley gets onto it for Villa on the halfway line, and Caden Young suddenly receives it on the left here and has a chance to run at Pattenden. Young speeding towards him, knocks it past him, down to the byline, cross into the near post, ball is loose, header from Buendia is a really clever one. Lobbed header from Emi Buendia, ends up in the back of the net, had to adjust himself as the ball was deflected and spooned up inside the box, and just cleverly guided it high and over the keeper. And Aston Villa of the Premier League lead early in the second half at Adams Park. It's Wycombe 0, Villa 1.
Well, he's one of the smaller men on the pitch, and you won't see a much better header, Ali. What a fantastic header. The direction of it is absolutely perfect. It wouldn't have went in the net anywhere else on target. It had to be up high in that corner. It had Ravitsoli scrambling, couldn't quite reach it. But I said first half, get the ball to Caden Young. He's got the beating of the fullback, his pace, his power. He goes to the byline, cuts it back. Yes, it takes a deflection, but when do you take about? What a wonderful header.
18-year-old Caden Young on his debut, involved in the creation of the opening goal. I know Joe, as a former Wycombe captain, is going to be looking at the defending. Could it have been avoided?
It's difficult. Jasper Pattenden's shown him down the outside. one thing was, as a fullback, you'd never want to show the winger inside and let him onto their strong foot and get a shot at goal. And Caden Young there has got a half a yard really. He's kind of slid in a cross. He's hit it there. It's taken a little deflection, but just seen the replay of Buendia. And Buendia's header is incredible. How he's falling backwards. He's going backwards in the air to get that much power, that much direction. It's incredible header. And you just hope that now Wycombe don't kind of sit in and not kind of, do the good things that they've done to get into the game here, and you really use this opportunity here with a free kick around the box to get back into it.
Yeah, they've responded well, quickly here. They've won a free kick right on the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area. The right back Pattenden was actually fouled by Young. So free kick on the corner of the box in the inside right channel. Wycombe 0, Villa 1. 11 minutes gone in the second half. Sadlier, who's already scored a couple of goals for Wycombe this season, is one of them to stand over the ball for Wycombe. Great support from the home fans, tucked under that low roof in the Beechdean Terrace away to our right. Matt Butcher's there as well. Whistle blows. What have Wycombe got up their sleeves here? Butcher goes short, gets the ball back, left-footed curler. You can see what they were trying to do there, and then Butcher has to tug Buendia back to stop the counter-attack, and that is going to be a free kick to Aston Villa. But they tried something with the free kick.
And all of a sudden, Aston Villa fans burst into song. The Champions League awaits for me. They're in good spirits.
Yeah, that's next week actually, isn't it? Wednesday night we've got full commentary on Aston Villa against Bayern Munich, which is a very special game in the Champions League for Aston Villa. Walsall Leicester in the League Cup tonight. Lee Blakeman.
It's still 0-0, but Fataou's into the area here, and he's just flashed a shot straight across the face of goal, right on time, Ali, because that's as close as Leicester have come all night. 0-0, Curtis.
The side saw a little bit more quality in the last 10 minutes, Leicester. It's been a bit sloppy, a bit pedestrian from Leicester in terms of their passing, but just recently Fataou's come back into the game like he was in the first 5-10 minutes. He come into the game 5 minutes ago, had an opportunity, maybe could have squared it, hit the side netting. That was his first one, and this was a warning. Just flashes past the right hand post.
Curtis Davis with us here. Leicester have just brought on Jordan Ayew. We've got 18 minutes to go. Walsall 0, Leicester 0.
Commentary continues on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Villa attacking, but Ross Barkley can't get to that ball. It ends up in the arms of the goalkeeper Franco Ravizzoli for Wycombe, who find themselves a goal behind. Latest on Manchester City Watford, John Bennett.
2-0 to Manchester City. Savinho nearly scored an amazing goal, picked up the ball in his own half, carried it all the way to the penalty area. His shot hit the post. At the other end, the sub, Georgi Chakvetadze, has made a difference for Watford. They're looking a lot more dangerous on the break. Man City 2, Watford 0.
And at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea Barrow, John Southall.
Chelsea 4, Barrow 0, but Tyreek George, 18-year-old academy product, has just missed a sitter from 7 yards out. He will be thinking about that tonight when the head hits the pillow. Chelsea 4, Barrow 0.
Glenn Murray.
Why is John digging him out as a young lad? Honestly, John, I thought you were better than that.
Wycombe 0, Aston Villa 1. Glenn Murray with us here at Adams Park. Great noise inside the stadium, and we're waiting to see how Wycombe can respond here, because they've still got half an hour to try and find themselves a goal, and they have troubled Villa at times in this cup tie. Leon Bailey on the ball for Villa inside his own half. Plenty on that pass back to Bogard. Bogard turns out of trouble, edge of his own box, plays it across to Swinkles, and Swinkles side foots a ball here to Maatsen on the left. So yeah, Aston Villa against Bayern Munich's our commentary next Wednesday night in the Champions League. On Tuesday night we've got Arsenal against Paris Saint-Germain. Jacob Ramsey's waiting to come on for Aston Villa in this game. Tomorrow night we're at Anfield for more League Cup football. Liverpool against West Ham. Conor McNamara and Michael Brown, your commentary team for that one. We'll have updates of Arsenal, Bolton as well, and Manchester United against FC Twente in the Europa League. Another goal at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
Chelsea have their fifth, and Christopher Nkunku has his hat-trick. Chelsea 5, Barrow 0. Dispossessed the goalkeeper and tucked it away. Chelsea 5, Barrow 0.
Here's Leon Bailey on the right for Aston Villa. Drags his left foot over the ball. Villa looking for a second to give themselves a cushion in the game. Maatsen plays a little 1-2 with Duran. Duran looks sharp, looking for the give and go. Now Duran makes the run, and Maatsen plays to the left to Caden Young.
All of a sudden the Premier League side have got a spring in their step, don't they? They're looking control now. Wycombe just need to ride this storm, stay in the game.
Unai Emery suddenly gets exercise on the touchline here, comes out to make a point. Villa pass the ball out of play, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
One man that hasn't really looked in the politest way up to speed is Ross Barkley tonight. It doesn't seem to quite be moving that ball at the same speed of the others. A little bit disappointing from the former Luton man, especially what we've seen of him in the Premier League last year. Maybe needs more game time.
A couple of substitutions coming here for Aston Villa. Jacob Ramsey is one to come on. The other is Aidan Borland, 17-year-old young Scotsman who Aston Villa signed at the start of last season from Celtic. Ross Barkley's receiving instructions at the moment. Amadou Onana is coming off and Leon Bailey is coming off. So Ramsey and Borland come on. And I think Borland is the young lad, Glenn, who you and I spotted at the start of the night. And we thought, shouldn't he be at school? He is 17, but he's 17 going on 14 in terms of looks, isn't he? I'm
just desperate for him to score, Alice, so we can call him the baby-faced assassin.
Yeah, exactly right, yeah. So a couple of changes made by Villa. Half an hour still to go in this cup tie. Borland on for a Villa debut. And it is Wycombe 0, Villa 1. David Wheeler is coming off for Wycombe, which gives me a chance to say, Joe Jacobson, a man you were having coffee with only yesterday, I believe.
I did, yeah. I'm still very close to a lot of the players here, and me and David Wheeler have spent the last 5 or 6 years together. You see someone pretty much every day for so long, and Fred Onyedinma, who's come back to the club for his third spell. I was here when he was a 17-year-old and he made his debut for Wycombe 10 years ago, and something that the fans have been so excited to see back in the quarters.
Kieran Sadlier is coming off. Gareth McCleary is coming on, the 37-year-old. So he will play wide for Wycombe. And a change up front as well. Richard Kone comes on to replace Lubala up top. Kone, the man who scored the goal that won the game against Swansea in the last round of the League Cup. So plenty of changes here, Joe, from Wycombe.
Yeah, and I think that's with the starting line that Matt Bloomfield put out, there's been plenty of opportunities for him to change the game with the substitutes he's got on, and he's changed the front three here today, or the front four now as well, with Cam Humphreys. They've all got goals in them. Fred Onyedinma coming back, the excitement there. Richard Kone, who's scored bags and bags of goals in non-league football for Newham Athletic, and he's taken league football like a duck to water, and what a lovely person he is as well, and I really think he's got a bright future ahead of him. And with Gareth McCleary next to him as well, it's hopefully this gives Wycombe a bit of impetus, a bit more pace up in those final third areas, and see if they can get back into the game.
Yeah, really trying something here. Matt Bloomfield makes 4 changes. Unai Emery makes 2. Wycombe make 4. Cameron Humphreys, as Joe says, on loan from Ipswich Town, has made an impact already here at Wycombe, has scored himself a couple of goals, actually scored against Cambridge United in the win on Saturday. So 4 changes. Game is back underway. Aston Villa leading through the very clever Buendia header. Here's Matt Butcher, edge of the Villa box. Offside flag was up as the move built up, so Villa will get themselves a free kick. But positive, Glenn, trying to give Aston Villa something else to think about.
Yes, definitely. I think Matt Bloomfield, that's his roll of the dice. Can his side get back in his change of front four? Fresh legs. Can they make something happen positively for Wycombe?
Keeping our eyes on the young Scotsman, the 17-year-old Aidan Borland for Aston Villa, wearing the number 54. Note the name, you heard it here first. League Cup night at Adams Park on a Tuesday night, September 2024. Let's see what he's got in the half an hour or so we're going to get to see him play. Here's Maatson on the left for Villa, looking for Ramsey. Pass didn't find him. Pattendon at right back for Wycombe. Runs the ball out of play for a throw into Villa on the left-hand side, and we've got about 25 minutes or so to play. If there aren't penalties in the game this evening, then from 10 o'clock tonight you'll get the latest episode of the Women's Football Weekly, which is already available on the BBC Sounds app. Jen Beattie and Ellen White, the co-pres, 2 presenters of the Women's Football Weekly this season. Football Daily as well will be there for you first thing tomorrow morning with all the reaction and analysis to tonight's football. Wycombe 0, Villa 1. Throw in then for Pattendon, who again wraps the match ball up in his Wycombe shirt, right in front of the away dugout here, and Pattendon Launches that down the right-hand side. Barkley heads it forward. Buendia cushions a header in field. Young leaps for that. So Young has moved over to the right for Villa now, with Ramsey on the left-hand side. Here's Borland, the 17-year-old for Villa, inside his own half. Plays back to Swinkles, who has to chase quickly under a bit of pressure from Kone there. Gets there first. Plays back to his goalkeeper, Gauci. Cross it comes to Bogard. Bogard in the right-back position out to Nedeljkovic. Back to Bogard. Wycombe sends an opportunity to try and win this ball, but Villa have managed to escape. And here's Ross Barkley. Barkley brings it forward, then passes diagonally left to Ramsey. Back to Barkley on the halfway line. Maatsen has made a run forward. Barkley's held onto the ball for now and just plays sideways to his left to Ramsey. Ramsey looks like he's going to come back into his own half here. So let's just check in on Walsall-Leicester quickly in the League Cup tonight. Lee Blake.
Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Leicester with a couple of chances. Thomas with a shot, well saved by Simpkin, and then a Buonanotte header, well saved by the Walsall keeper too. Still 0-0 with 10 to play.
Commentary continues on Radio 5 Sports Extra. That one could potentially be heading for a penalty shootout. The ball's jumped up on Ramsey here in midfield. You heard the Wycombe fans all shout handball. Referee agreed, and Wycombe have themselves a free kick. Trailing Villa 1-0. Noise levels rise inside Adams Park. Matt Butcher, wearing the number 8 for Wycombe, gets ready to take the free kick. Looks ahead of him, looking for movement, looking for runners. Whistle blows. Butcher holds his right arm in the air, clips it forward, spinning ball, and it's too easy for Gauci to be able to come forward and catch.
Yeah, way too much on it. Just clipped it in there. It had a lack of conviction, in all honesty. Wrong area, easy for the Aston Villa goalkeeper.
So Gauci with the ball at his feet. Just trying to draw in the challenger Kone. Kone comes darting towards him, and then Gauci plays it out to Swinkles. Swinkles inside his own half, misplaced pass, goes beyond Ramsey. Wycombe can't do much with it. They've given it away to Barkley. Now Buendia. Buendia, strong sliding challenge on him from Humphreys. Home fans love that. Clean tackle as well, Joe.
Yeah, great tackle there from Cam Humphreys, and that's why the fans have loved him since he's come in. He's all action. He's scored a couple of winners, but the other side of it as well, he loves to get stuck in, and the challenges like that, how can fans not love someone?
Yeah, clever little pass forward down the inside right channel as well, which nearly found Kone. Good defending from Swinkles to clear it for Villa. Clever centre forward play from Duran there. Just gave Lowe the nudge in the back, but Lowe was strong enough to stand his ground and win the header. Barkley's pass is intercepted, and Wycombe get the ball again. Do you ever do a bit of that, Glenn? Little nudge in the centre back, just get him off balance, and away you go.
What, the dark
Sprint
arts?
clear from the halfway, the dark arts, yeah.
Exactly. That was not me. You obviously never watched me.
Ball forward over the top here. Is the flag going to go up? Stays down. That was half a chance for Cam Humphreys. Couldn't bring the ball under control, and Gauci is able to collect. And suddenly the game's getting a little more open in the second half. Gauci bowls it out underarm to Ross Barkley. Barkley prods it here to Borland. Borland to Nedeljkovic. Turns and plays back to Bogard on the edge of his own penalty area. Cross to Swinkles. Swinkles chased by Kone, the replacement Wycombe centre forward's been doing a lot of that since coming on the field. So Gareth McCleary is wide on the right hand side. Onyedinma on the left, Kone through the middle, and Cam Humphreys in support as Duran lays it off here to Borland. Borland comes bursting forward into the Wycombe half, gets away from him, and Wycombe play it back to their keeper, Glenn.
All of a sudden Aston Villa look really assured in possession, don't they? And I feel as though the changes haven't necessarily...
Little cushion header from Maatsen might play Villa into trouble, and then Kone trying to bring the ball down. It sort of hits his left shin and goes away for a goal kick.
I was going to say they haven't necessarily benefited Wycombe. They seem to have lost their way. There's a little bit more hesitancy in their press. They're not all quite on the same wavelength. I think it was brilliant that Matt Bloomfield could make 8 changes at the start of the game, and everyone was so on the same plan. That they all understood what they were doing, but these changes just seem to have not been had the effect they would have liked, I don't think.
Here's Barkley for Villa. Wycombe 0, Villa 1. Emi Buendia's header 11 minutes into the second half at the moment as Villa going through to the last 16 of the League Cup. For Wycombe Wanderers tonight, only the 4th time ever they've played in the 3rd round of the competition. Only ever won one 3rd round tie, and that was the League 2 team that got all the way to the semi-finals back in 2007. Another goal at the Etihad Stadium tonight. John Bennett.
And suddenly it's game on. Manchester City 2, Watford 1. Brilliant goal by Tom Ince, edge of the box, left-footed, curled into the back of the net. The keeper had no chance. 5 minutes to go. Man City 2, Watford 1.
John Duran's cross into the Wycombe box, dealt with for now. The ball is knocked up into the air by Butcher. Duran wins a header. Pattendon took a knock to the head. The referee has to stop the game because it was a knock to the back of the head. Duran was jumping, won the header, and the ref has stopped things.
Just going back there, Duran, he gets the ball on his left foot, and he actually unselfishly tries to play the ball into the box. I thought he could unleash the shot. The angle was a little bit tight, but I think when the form is on, I think it was a good opportunity to ask a question to the goalkeeper.
When he came on against Young Boys on Tuesday night in the Champions League, any position he got in, Glenn, whatever angle, he just swung hard and shot on goal every single time. He didn't do it that time, as you say. Villa leading Wycombe by 1-0. Back to Walsall, Leicester. Lee Blakeman.
5 minutes to go. It's still Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Leicester have had the better of the chances in the last 5 minutes, but overall Walsall have been absolutely excellent. They've got a free kick here midway inside their own half. Both teams have made 4 changes each, and we're heading to penalties. Walsall 0, Leicester 0 as things stand.
OK, thank you, Lee. Commentary continues on that one on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Remember, tomorrow night on 5 Live, League Cup football, 8 o'clock kickoff is Liverpool against West Ham. Conor McNamara in the company of Michael Brown, who's also a guest on the You'll Never Beat Kyle Walker podcast, which I think goes live in the early hours tomorrow morning on the BBC Sounds app. When I think once again the subject of trash talking comes up. Villa nearly play themselves into trouble here. Header up in the air just outside their own penalty area. Joe Lowe steps forward, he's lost it. Buendia finds Duran. Now real danger for Wycombe here as Villa look to come on the counter. Ramsey was making a great run through the middle. Villa decided not to use him. Barkley to Duran. Duran is deep here just inside the Wycombe half. The Delkovic plays to the right, then Caden Young looks for the return pass. Onyedinma is back there defending for Wycombe in the left back position, and Skura clears awkwardly with his right foot. Barkley jumps, ball drops down to Ramsey. Ramsey turns away from trouble, moves to the left hand side, chased here by Cam Humphreys, and Ramsey plays back into his own half and finds Swinkle. So Wycombe 0, Villa 1, 18 or so minutes to play plus a bit of added time. What are you thinking here from Wycombe's point of view, Joe Jacobson?
Yeah, it's difficult because they're having to chase a little bit more now. So it was in the first half where the goalkeeper got it and you could kind of be patient on your press and be kind of compact and wait for an opportunity. At the minute they're kind of chasing it a little bit. They're chasing the keeper down, which leaves one of the centre halves very free to bring the ball out, and they can't quite get as close as they did in the first half.
Centre halves bringing the ball out. That was Swinkles, finds Maatsen looking for the 1-2 with Duran. Back to Maatsen again. Here's Duran, 30 yards out, plays the ball to the left hand side to Ramsey. Villa still leading this game by 1-0. Walsall Leicester in the closing stages, possibly heading towards a penalty shootout. Here's Lee Blakeman.
3 minutes to go. Walsall 0, Leicester 0. Walsall with a throw-in midway inside the Leicester half. Walsall have had the more clear-cut chances in this game so far. Leicester have been so sloppy. The reason the ball's gone out for a throw here in the first place is because they've given it away while passing it between themselves, and they've done that about 10 times in this game so far. Gordon for Walsall, cutting in from the left, moves into the area. Good chance here. Gordon's ball across the face of goal. Shot goes in. Good block from inside the 6 yards area at that time to deny Taylor Allen, and the ball scrambled behind and scrambled for a throw-in next to the corner flag. Curtis Davis.
Walsall tails are up. Earlier, about 3 minutes earlier, we had a corner come in. It was a scramble on the goal line. Came to the edge of the box, about to fall to Allen, who's ready to pull the trigger. The ref slips, hits him, and then the ball goes back to Leicester. But Walsall have not been downhearted from that. They've kept going, kept the momentum, and they're pushing on for that goal to not take it to penalties.
90 seconds to go plus stoppage time. Long throw from Harry Williams. In it goes. Bounces once inside the penalty area. Bobbling around. Still not clear. Walsall with a chance to put it back in from the right this time from Connor Barrett. Leicester back in their numbers. Walsall have a corner. Their third of the second half, and they are on top in the closing stages.
Very much on top. I think Barrett's had a really good game. Just gets the ball in and just gets blocked at the front post. But the last corner they had, they caused problems. It was a scramble. There were 2 or 3 chances to pull the trigger. But this is definitely a nervous time for Leicester right now.
Evan Weir with a left-footed in-swinger away to our left, in it goes towards the back post, flicked header away by Leicester, and Boubakary Samaru's in there. Is it going to fall for Walsall on this near side? It is, but they run out of space. Leicester throw midway inside their own half. We have got 40 seconds to go plus stoppage time. Walsall of League 2 0, Leicester City of the Premier League 0. Leicester with a throw right down below where we are, midway point of the Walsall half on the Leicester right, to be taken by Fatau, who takes it quickly, goes back to Pereira, and now Connor Cody on the halfway line, plays it across to Okoli. He was the only player to start tonight who started for Leicester in the 1-1 draw against Everton on Saturday afternoon. Leicester on the attack down their left with Skip, pulled back, Leicester free kick, taken quickly, too quickly for the liking of the referee Tom Neild, because he wanted to book the guilty Walsall player. So it's going to be a Leicester free kick inside left, 25 yards from the byline. Curtis.
This would be cruel if Leicester are to get a goal here. I think Walsall at least deserve penalties. They've had the best chances in the game. They've maybe not had the same quality as Leicester in terms of the players on the end of those chances, but at the same time Leicester have been sloppy today. So this is going to be in 5 minutes injury time now. So Walsall will want to see this one out and see if they can take it to pens.
Yeah, 5 to be added on. Luke Thomas, wearing shirt number 33 in Leicester City blue, stands over this free kick. Elsewhere, Manchester City 2, Watford 1. Aston Villa 1-0 up at Wycombe. Chelsea cruising at home to Barrow. Free kick's going to get swung in. It is Thomas. It's hit with pace towards the back post. Too much pace because it couldn't be kept in by Connor Cody. Into the side netting it goes, and it's going to be a Walsall goal kick, which Tommy Simpkin, who's on loan from Stoke City, is going to be in no hurry to take at all.
It made me laugh because Johnson and I think it was Allen as well started sprinting forward. They wanted to go and win it. Simpkin had different ideas. He held onto the ball. In fact, he held onto it that long that El Khanous went and told him to put the ball down and take the kick.
El Khanous, who's come on as one of 4 changes in this second half made by Steve Cooper. Ayew, Skip and McAteer have also been brought on. Leicester win the ball back inside their own half. McAteer tries to send it over halfway, succeeds at the second time of asking. Ayew's going to give chase here. Ball goes back to Simpkins, sold a little bit short, takes no chances, launches it high into the West Midlands night sky. Walsall will give chase. Leicester will have to tidy up again in their left back area. Thomas can't keep the ball in, and it's going to be a Walsall throw midway inside the half. 92 on the clock. 3 more minutes of added time for one of these two teams to try and find a winner, or it will be penalties here on 5 Live at the Bescott Stadium. Jordan Ayew facing his own goal inside his own half.
So sloppy from Okoli on that play. Simpkins played a long ball down their pitch. All he needs to do is head it clear. He's 6'3", 6'4", just head it clear, let it bounce, ends up putting his teammate under pressure, and undue pressure in the last few minutes against Walsall.
Leicester, 5 Premier League games this season, 0 wins. They've won 1 game so far this campaign. That was against Tranmere, 4-0 in the last round of this competition. I was at that game. They cruised it. No such joy here tonight. Walsall have been excellent. They've conceded just 4 goals in League 2 this season. And just looking at them tonight, Curtis, you can see why. Really well drilled, really well organised. But at times, you have to say, Leicester have been quite easy to defend against.
They have. I said it's one of those games where the defenders have had to work hard in terms of moving left, moving right. But they've not really had to get their shirts dirty, where they've made loads of last-minute tackles or loads of slides to block balls.
Really ball for Leicester, nearly played in Samare, but Walsall were able to defend. 0-0 Walsall and Leicester. League Cup third round with 90 seconds of stoppage time still to play. Leicester have the ball inside their own half. Worked to Thomas down the left. He's seen a lot of the ball over there in this second half, but at the moment he doesn't look in a hurry to get forwards. It's Walsall who are playing with most urgency as they search for a winner as well. Inside normal time, Skip to Pereira. Remember, no extra time, straight to penalties here. Leicester on the attack. Can they win it late on? Ayew, right side of the penalty area, takes it to the byline. Good, strong challenge going in that time by Harry Williams. Leicester throw right by the corner flag in front of the away end.
Fantastic tackle by Williams, times it well. I think it's one of those where he's going to go for the ball anyway to stop Ayew getting the ball in, but a great tackle ends up making Ayew a little bit hurt here. Ayew hobbling. Might be a problem for penalties. Well, Walsall will be hoping so anyway.
Well, we're 1 minute away from them. Short throw for Tau, takes it towards the byline. 2 Walsall players for company, dodges 2 but gets caught, and it's going to be a Leicester free kick on the byline, right on the edge of the penalty area. This, the last chance, Curtis Davis, as Liam Gordon gets booked for that challenge to win this game before we go to penalties.
They'll have to stay resolute here. They deserve at least penalties, as I said earlier, with the chances they've had and the balance of the game. They've been so solid within their 5-3-2 formation, made sure that whilst being solid, they're not passive. They've had the good chances on the break, and it'll be heartbreaking if they're to concede here.
Thomas standing over the ball with his left foot for Leicester. Ricardo Pereira with his right, attacking the away end. The 95 minutes are up. Plenty of blue shirts for one of these two to aim for in the centre. This, or it's penalties. Is it going to be Thomas? Is it going to be Pereira? The referee, Tom Neal, just organising things inside the penalty area. Lots going on around the penalty spot. Referee blows his whistle. Thomas leaves it. Pereira with the delivery hits the wall. Referee looks at his watch. Second ball will come in though first. Thomas with the cross. Simpkin with the claim. That should be penalties unless Walsall can hit Leicester on the counter. No, there is the final whistle. It's going to be a penalty shootout to separate Walsall of League 2 and Leicester of the Premier League. Curtis Davis.
It's more than... Well, it's at least what Walsall deserved. If anything, they should have won this game in normal time. They had the best chances, the clear-cut chances anyway. And Leicester tonight will be so disappointed. They've had a lot of the ball, but they've not been effective enough and been very, very sloppy.
We're going to penalties here at the Bescott Stadium. Walsall 0, Leicester 0, as we go back to Alistair Bruce Ball at Wycombe.
Thank you, Lee. Back with you for the penalties. Wycombe 0, Aston Villa 1. It remains at Adams Park. 8 minutes remaining in this game. While we were away listening to commentary of the closing stages of Walsall against Leicester, Wycombe so nearly back into the tie with a leveller. Gareth McCleary on as a second half substitute with 2 chances actually, Glenn Murray.
Yeah, he was, First one's down the left hand side. It's Humphreys that whips it across, actually goes through the Aston Villa centre-back's legs, and it arrives to Gareth McCleary at the back post. He just can't quite sort his feet out, and it slips out to safety for Aston Villa. And the second one, long throw, flicked on at the front post, and Gareth McCleary, not known for his heading, heads it towards goal. It's almost perfect, just doesn't quite have enough power on it as Gauci comes jumping out of nowhere and palms it round the post. But close from Wycombe, they're pushing.
Yeah, they are pushing. We have 6 minutes plus added time remaining here at Adams Park. So Aston Villa leading by a goal to 0. Barkley plays to the 17-year-old Borland. On to Buendia. Wide it goes to John Duran. He slows things down and plays it to Matson. Into the feet of Ross Barkley. Now the run being made by Duran, and Barkley decides not to release the pass. Goes on the dribble. Gives it to Duran. Back to Barkley. Here's Duran. Through on goal. Takes 2 touches. Then stumbles over in the box. And the referee says penalty. Duran was trying to dribble round the keeper. Defender made the challenge at the same time as well. Duran was off balance, goes tumbling down, and our referee tonight, John Busby, says penalty. Glenn's giving me a smile. I'll tell you what, I'm going to let the guys, Joe and Glenn, have a look at the replay. John Duran is waiting to take the penalty. In fact, this might happen pretty quickly. I was about to go to Stamford Bridge for a full time in the League Cup tonight. Let's wait. Let's see what John Duran can do with the penalty, looking to add another goal to his fast improving tally this season. What about this challenge then, Glenn Murray? Ravitsoli, the goalkeeper, sliding out, although it's not him that makes contact, is it?
Do you know, I hate to say it, but I don't think it is a penalty.
Really? Skura, it was Skura, the centre-back, who was running with Duran, and the referee's seen that as a clip on Duran. Whistle blows. John Duran with this left foot sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, buries the ball into the bottom corner, and Aston Villa surely are heading into the last 16 of the League Cup. Duran does it again. Wycombe 0, Villa 2, Full time at Stamford Bridge, John Southall.
It's finished Chelsea 5, Barrow 0, Chelsea 3 up at half-time. Second half goals from Pedro Neto, his first for the club, and Christopher Nkunku, who completed his hat-trick. Barrow never gave it up in the second half. Spence with their best chance, so they've played twice, these two. Chelsea won 5-0 in 1948, 5-0 in 2024, and they are into round 4. Chelsea 5, Barrow 0.
Chelsea through. Looks like Villa are going through. What about Manchester City? John Bennett.
They're through as well. Manchester City 2, Watford 1. Credit Watford, though. They made it very nervy in the end after a brilliant Tom Ince goal with 5 minutes to go. But goals from Doku and Nunes were enough for City. Pep Guardiola not happy with some of his players in injury time. Manchester City 2, Watford 1.
So Wycombe 0, Villa 2. Not entirely sure that should have been a penalty, but John Duran, as he's been doing this season, has stuck it away. Looks like Villa are going through here. We're taking you back to Walsall. Penalties. Walsall against Leicester. Lee Blakeman.
And Leicester have just scored the first one via Ricardo Pereira. The penalty's been taken away to our right, where the Leicester fans are gathered. Tommy Simpkin, the Walsall keeper, Curtis Davis, went the right way. The power beat him. Good Pereira penalty.
Yeah, excellent contact on the ball with Simpkin going the right way. Had to make sure, hits the side netting, makes no mistake. 1-0 Leicester.
Taylor Allen to take the first Walsall penalty as Pereira makes his way out of the penalty area back to the halfway line. Now, Allen was one of 3 players left out of the starting 11 tonight, compared with the side that started at Salford on Saturday. He's come on as a second half substitute. What's he going to do here? It's going to be a short run up, just 3 steps. Allen with the power, Ward with the save. Big save by Danny Ward, the Leicester keeper, low down to his right, because Taylor Allen there, power and placement, did not do much wrong, but Ward with a big right hand.
It's a fantastic save. I thought Allen thought he'd scored. He hit it so well right into the bottom corner, but Ward guessed right and got his big hand on it and managed to keep it out.
Up next, if you're a regular listener to BBC Radio 5 Live, you will recognise this man's voice, Connor Cody, who is back in the Leicester team tonight. The big centre half wearing shirt number 4. If he can score this, then Leicester will be in total control early on. He spots it down. Tommy Simpkin, the Walsall keeper on loan from Stoke City, just up the M6, makes himself big, dances around on his line. He's touched his bar a few times. Cody steps up, sends the keeper the wrong way. 2-0 Leicester, and they are now cruising in the shootout.
Nice calm penalty from Connor Cody there. Showed his composure, was in the huddle, telling the players to be calm, to pick a spot and put it away, and that's what he's done there.
How helpful is it when you're taking penalties in a situation like this to be at the end where your fans are?
Well, it's always good to have a clear, I guess, view where nobody's going to be waving things and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's a big task to take a penalty, particularly in a cup game like this.
Penalty number 2 for Walsall to be taken by David Akagbu. You feel needs to score, doesn't score because Ward has made another excellent save, went to his right again. Akagbu went for power. It was a good height this time, but Ward again, full stretch, excellent save. 2 penalties each, and Leicester lead 2-0.
Yep, same side. Ward this time a little bit easier for him, but Akagbu puts decent pace on it, but just the right height, probably about mid-height of the goal. And Ward chooses right and makes another save. And Walsall, for all they've done tonight, really deserve more. But if Skip scores this, it's going to be a very, very difficult for them to get back into it.
Skip, he's not been on the pitch very long. It's been a quick walk up from him. He's in a hurry here, Skip. Up he steps, straight past the keeper, who this time went the right way, but he was in a hurry to take that. He wanted to get it over with as soon as possible, Oliver Skip, and he made no mistake despite the rush.
And just like Walsall have gone the same way both ways, Leicester all 3 penalties into that bottom right corner, and he makes no mistake. He steps up, he takes it quick, and Simpkin can't reach it.
Well, we had a really long penalty shootout at Preston last Tuesday. This could be one of the quickest ones I've seen, because if Liam Gordon doesn't score this for Walsall, it will be all over, because Leicester have scored 3 out of 3. Gordon needs to score this. It's side-footed, it's slow, and that is it. Easy save for Danny Ward as Walsall miss all of their penalties. Leicester score all of theirs, and Leicester, despite a scare in normal time, make it through to the next round of the League Cup, winning 3-0 on penalties. Curtis Davis.
Disappointing penalty from Gordon, but I think Walsall deserve more than that. They played really good, should keep their heads up, flying high in League 2, and that'll give them great confidence. They went toe-to-toe with a Premier League team all game, had the best opportunities, and I think they'll have to take that into the league and improve on their league form even more.
A sigh of relief from everybody connected to Leicester City Football Club. They've gone through it all tonight, but ultimately just making it through to the next round on a penalty shootout. It's ended on penalties after it ended 0-0 in normal time. 3-0 in favour of Leicester City as we return to Wycombe and Alistair Bruce Ball.
Just as the board has gone up for added time, 4 minutes of it late in the game. Shot on goal from one of the Villa substitutes who has just come on the field, Geraldine Jimo Aloba. So Unai Emery giving a few of the youngsters a run out now. Aston Villa leading Wycombe by 2-0. It sounded like Walsall needed John Duran taking a penalty for them. He has got the late second goal for Villa here to make things a little more comfortable for them. Although, Glenn, having watched the replays of the challenge again, you were shaking your head and actually saying that shouldn't have been a penalty.
No, as a former striker, Ali, I don't like to turn down penalties, but John Duran just gets a toe on it and he's almost going down. And I feel sorry for the referee actually, because the angle he goes down at, the way the goalkeepers come out and the way the centre half's close to him, it does look like a penalty in real time, 100% penalty. But when you got a review and a replay, definitely no penalty. But it doesn't matter. Stands on the spot, whips it into the bottom corner, and he's on the score sheet again.
Yeah, 5 goals so far this season, 4 off the bench in the Premier League, 1 from the penalty spot tonight. So Wycombe 0, Villa 2. Chelsea, Manchester City and Leicester then all through to the last 16 of the League Cup. Full commentary on Liverpool, West Ham tomorrow. Jacob Ramsey looking for a third for Villa. The ball just gets away from him on the left hand side. Ramsey plays it back to Duran, gives it to Ramsey. Edge of the penalty area is Ross Barkley. Barkley is just teasing Wycombe players here with the ball at his feet. Plays back into the Villa half, and it's the young Dutch defender Sil Swinkels. And Joe Jacobson, former Wycombe captain, can't say that Wycombe didn't have their chances as well, because at 1-0 down before the penalty came, as we were saying when we were here a little while ago, Gareth McCleary will come back to it in a second. 2 fabulous chances to get Wycombe back to 1-1. Wycombe doing some defending at the moment. The ball is cleared by Hartridge, out for a throw. Joe.
Yeah, and also again Richard Kone as well, with Gareth McCleary passed one across the box, and Richard Kone, who's a really calm finisher, footed it just past the far hand post. And going back to the penalty, it's one of those where he's kind of looking for it. He kind of falls when the goalkeeper's there, and he used the goalkeeper's body to create a bit of contact, and I think he's deserved it though. I think his movement, his energy tonight, he's worked so hard for the team. He's popped up in wide positions down the middle, and I think he's been a different class today. But the difference between the two teams,
he is irrepressible. I've seen him live twice this season. He is a bundle of energy, so much quality as well, John Duran. And on the score sheet again for Villa, Barkley's ball, Duran's shot on the turn straight at the goalkeeper, who makes the save. That's exactly what I'm talking about there. Just keeps going. Long ball downfield. Mike calls Villa a problem here. Shot is just wide. Gauci was there. Did he get a touch on that? I'm not entirely sure. No, it's going to be a goal kick, Aston Villa. Late chance for Wycombe.
As that ball's bouncing into McCleary, who just eased his ball guard out of the way, falls on his left foot, it's high, and he just slashes it, doesn't show composure. And Joe, if you'd wanted those chances to fall to anyone, it probably would have been Gareth McCleary.
Villa are giving the ball away. Can Wycombe get a late goal in this game? No, it's dragged wide. The shot is wide of the left-hand post. Very nearly a gift that from Aston Villa. But the shot with the left foot from Kone this time. So Kone's had a couple of chances, McCleary's had a couple too, but Wycombe haven't been able to find the back of the net.
That's right, and even if they score a goal now with a couple of minutes left of injury time, it still puts pressure on Aston Villa. They've made the changes, they've put a load of young players on to give them that experience, but would they have that experience if it's 1-0 here? He's in again here.
Yeah, Kone with a little header gets in behind Swinkels. Bogard did it in his hand. Kone shot! Finds the back of the net! Late in added time! Very late in added time. Wycombe collect the ball from the net. They come racing back to the halfway line. They want to get this game back on as soon as possible. And Villa really sloppy in the last couple of minutes of the game. And suddenly there's a bit of pressure on them. Wycombe 1, Villa 2. That finish, Glenn Murray, emphatic.
Yeah, it was indeed. He bundles his way through, and once that ball falls to his right foot, he makes no mistake. It's hard, it's powerful, it's on target, and Gauci can't stop it. Wycombe back in it. Could it be too late? I know all the Wycombe fans are just turning around from the exits now and running back in.
Yeah, Nedeljkovic from right back hits the long diagonal downfield. 4 minutes of added time is actually up. We're beyond the allotted added time, so it's down to the referee's discretion now. Ross Barkley is on the ball. Villa would just be sensible to try and keep it here. Borland inside the Wycombe half, plays it back to the halfway line, and Wycombe, despite the late goal, are beaten by Aston Villa in a really exciting third round tie here at Adams Park. The John Duran penalty in the end, all important for Villa. It came late in the game. Emi Buendia gave them the lead with a really clever header early in the second half. Then the Duran penalty that we don't actually think should have been a penalty, but he expertly tucked it away. Wycombe did have their chances. The late goal from the right foot of Kone, but Glenn Murray, it is Aston Villa who go through.
Yeah, it is, and at 2-0 you don't really think that penalty decision matters, but if VAR had been in play, this game would have been a draw and would have been going to penalties. But in all fairness, I think that Matt Bloomfield can be really proud of his players and his squad here at Wycombe, but they have rued their missed opportunities. They had their chances, they weren't clinical enough, and in the end that quality showed through from Aston Villa.
Joe Jacobson, what did you make of it?
Yeah, like Glenn said then, I think they can be really proud of the performance, especially in the first half. They limited Aston Villa to the early chance of John Duran. Apart from that, it took a wonderful header by Emi Buendia, the first shot on target they had in the whole game, and they did have chances to get back into it late on. If one of those goes in with a couple more minutes left on the clock, then I think it's game on.
4 out of 4 for the Premier League teams tonight. Chelsea through, Manchester City through, Leicester through on penalties against Walsall, and Unai Emery made 10 changes here tonight, but you just knew John Duran was going to score. He did it from the penalty spot, and Villa are through to the last 16. It's finished Wycombe 1, Aston Villa 2.
Alistair Bruce-Ball, thank you very much. Joe Jacobson, as a former Wycombe captain, you've already said there's a lot for this team to be proud of in terms of their performance, but also in terms of what they will have learned from going up against, yes, a changed Villa side, but a Villa side that had quality all the way through it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you can go into these games and give a bit too much respect to the opposition, thinking that they're in the Champions League, they're in the top 4 of the Premier League at the minute, but I really think they got that balance really right to show them a bit of respect, but also not give them too much. They pressed them at the right times, they broke on them at the right times, they played big diagonal balls and got seconds at the right times, and I think their game plan really worked today. It took a wonderful header from Buendia to get the first goal for Aston Villa, and they still had chances to come back into the game. On another day, Gareth McCleary puts one of those away, Richard Coney puts one of those away, and it's game on, it's penalty shootout, and it's anyone's game. But they can be really proud of what they've done tonight, and hopefully they can take that forward into the rest of the league season.
And Glenn, from Aston Villa's point of view, they will have been expected to win this, even with the changes in the side, and changes for Wycombe as well, of course. But when you look at what they've done and how few games it takes to win this competition, I know that Unai Emery said it's not one of their priorities, but it's not a bad thing, is it? They've got themselves in a really good position here.
They have. I think Aston Villa's performances, they did enough, and that is pretty much it. And I think from what Unai Emery said pre-game, and you look at his bench today, he only had Ramsey on there of any real quality, or quality that we know of, should I say. He had no sort of game savers. He didn't put anyone on the bench as a safety blanket, so I think that speaks volumes of how he feels about this competition. But yeah, you're right, it's another step towards silverware, and this Aston Villa squad, I think if they weren't in Europe, they'd be treating this competition a lot differently, but I completely understand where he's coming from. Like we say, a week from now he's got Bayern Munich at home, and that is the focus.
It will be the focus, but for tonight it is a win, and they move on into the next round of the EFL Cup. Thank you to Glenn Murray, thank you to Joe Jacobson.